bias, really a disdain for then-candidate Trump, whom he was charged with investigating. And, of course, he was in charge as well as the Clinton email scandal investigation. He claims that that bias that he had, that disdain, had no effect on the direction of those investigations. We believe otherwise.
Republican Mike Johnson of the House Judiciary Committee. Fire crews gaining ground against a wildfire in Northern California. The Klamathon fire near the Oregon border now 25% contained. The blaze killing a woman in her home and destroying dozens of structures. A business in Oklahoma coming to the rescue of a man who faced arrest and a fine of more than $200 for not returning a DVD from a rental store in 2014. Lonnie Perry says he forgot about the movie Ted after he became homeless and packed up his stuff. A handyman company paid what Perry owed the store. A pop star pops the question.
If you like the way you look
Justin Bieber and model Hailey Baldwin are engaged. That's according to multiple reports. This is the second go-around for the happy couple. Bieber and Baldwin previously dated before they split up in 2016. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News Radio.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card. And upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Speaker Benjamin Cruz says a freeze on hiring, pay raises, and off-island trips will be a mandatory part of the budget that he brings to the floor in the coming weeks. In a Dear Colleague letter yesterday to his fellow senators, the Speaker wrote, "We would need $145 million in additional revenue just to reach the same appropriation level that was approved this fiscal year." He offered his colleagues a stark choice between cutting millions more in next year's budget or raising additional revenue. The choice is a budget that cuts $145 million in spending that will demand an awful price from every single member of the community, wrote the Speaker, or we can achieve meaningful reductions to appropriations, enact the toughest spending controls, and raise revenues responsibly, he wrote. Speaker points to years of waste, abuse, and squandered trust which have killed government's credibility with the people. He cites the recent reports of uncollected tobacco and real property taxes, hiring sprees, and raided special funds. Yet the speaker writes that no one can cut $145 million in a single fiscal year without crippling the economy and posing a direct danger to the island's health and safety. In other news, a federal case against a former ramp agent has been unsealed in Guam District Court, detailing a scheme to steal mail that was intended for the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. 39-year-old Glenn Doria Perez pleaded guilty to mail theft. The case had been sealed since it was filed last November. In April of last year, Perez was interviewed by U.S. Postal Inspection Service agents about thefts at the Micronesian Air Cargo Facility. He'd been working as a ramp agent since February 2016 and was responsible for loading cargo onto flights which transported mail from Guam to the CNMI. According to the plea agreement, Perez admitted to stealing about $3,000 worth of items, including a laptop, 2 cell phones, and 4 watches, among other items. He said he gave most of the items to a friend to sell and made about $1,500. Perez faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. Sentencing is scheduled for October 4th. We'll have more news after this.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The Government Accountability Office has not yet been able to locate about a quarter of the shipping records needed to determine the ports through which Agent Orange was shipped. GAO Management Team Director Brian Lepore sent a letter to Guam EPA explaining that his department is still trying to locate the remaining records, and they expect to issue their final report by September or October. The report has already been delayed once. It was initially expected to be released in May, but was postponed until July. The GAO conducted additional focus groups with Vietnam War veterans on Guam and in the mainland U.S. In response to this second delay, Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi wrote back to the GAO expressing her concern that all the shipping records can't be found. She emphasized the importance as well of testing for Agent Orange both on and off base. So far, testing has been limited to Andersen Air Force Base only. Guam National Wildlife Refuge at Ritidian is closed through today while a damage assessment continues at the nearby Andersen Air Force Base. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says Tropical Storm Maria last Thursday downed numerous trees which need to be cleared before the refuge can reopen. Meanwhile, Pacific Air Forces has confirmed an unspecified number of aircraft, including a KC-135 tanker used for mid-air refueling, were damaged by Tropical Storm Maria when it passed over the island last Thursday. Finally, another $2 million in tax refunds in the mail today. The checks were printed on Friday for about 1,026 taxpayers who filed error-free returns on February 8th through part of February 9th. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with the weather.
Well, thanks very much, Kevin. Partly cloudy skies today, isolated showers, winds coming out of the east up to about 15 miles an hour, decreasing sometime after sunset. Daytime highs today should be about 89 degrees, overnight lows of about 78 degrees. You can expect your sunset at 6:52 this evening, sunrise this morning. Later and later every day, 5:59 is what we were talking about, and a beautiful pink sunrise this morning.
Sure was.
To explain why, here's the amazing and incredible Michael Knight.
Still got those dusty particulates from the volcano up in the atmosphere. And,
no, they blew away in the typhoon last week.
No. It's just that you get more added to it because it hasn't stopped. So it's just a steady stream of that stuff up in the upper levels.
With the with the buildup of the typhoon, now Super Typhoon, right? Super
That's
Typhoon
right,
Maria.
yeah.
Does it bring in more weather? Is it sucking more weather through the Mariana Islands as it develops and makes its way towards, I guess the last time I looked was Japan?
Yeah, and it doesn't quite work that way because, you know, as we're on the backside of the storm, it's bringing stuff up now from the south, so not from the east. The general trend is for weather in the tropics to track from east to west, so that's just that's the way it goes along with the trade winds. But Maria, not so much the effect of that. It did clear things out a little bit as the last couple of days, but it was so rainy we couldn't really tell. So
Yeah, you got to pick your rain times. To tell you what, there's a major event over the weekend that I missed because I thought it was going to be raining. Anyway, the radar is down, but the satellite images are up. If you want to take a quick look and see where Guam is in the Marianas,
yeah, we're
and
down
what we
at
can look forward to.
Yeah, we're in the lower center portion of this picture. Video being zoomed out a bit, so you can see Super Typhoon Maria up there. This storm has been problematic from the start. Of course, they didn't figure it getting as strong as it did before it hit us, which caused the Air Force and everybody some problems. Now, they originally had tracked the storm to go to Okinawa, but it looks like it stayed further south, so another unexpected move. Now, Taiwan looks to be in the bullseye, northern Taiwan. But if you're going to have a storm hit anywhere in the Pacific, Taiwan's the place to hit because that's a typhoon killer.
Really?
That island is. Oh yeah, you've got mountain ranges there in excess of 4,000 meters.
Oh, I see.
So,
I see.
yeah.
So the storms will hit them and start to break off.
I could show you some video, and I will. I'll pull one up of a storm from a couple of years ago. Big storm, super typhoon, hit Taiwan and went.
Goodbye. That's cool. That's what let's build that. We'll take the ORDOT dump and we'll make it 4,000 meters high, and then we will be our super typhoon.
Come on,
killer.
Ray, the island would sink.
It's 6:15 after the military buildup. Sure, 6:15. That's news and weather together. Brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
Moraco Equipment, located on Ipoh Road, Tamuning, is a heavy equipment dealership and was established on Guam in 1990. Moraco Equipment is now an employee-owned company. Moraco represents 23 heavy equipment manufacturers and supports those products on Guam with sales, rental, parts, and service. The Moraco equipment rental fleet now comprises of 200 machines. Moraco also offers an on-site diesel delivery service and Trashco Guam, a roll-off trash container service. If you're interested in joining the Moraco ESOP ownership team, find out more on their website at moracoequipment.com.
Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's Restaurant. Did you get a chance to swing by there over the weekend? Well, it's, you know what, they're open every day. So just a FYI, and they've got great lunchtime specials for you. They get the idea that we've got some certain favorites during the course of the week, and they've got a great one or two lined up for you today. What is it today? What's the Mondays? It's beef something?
Isn't today Salisbury steak?
Salisbury steak, which is made from cows, which is a beef thing. So have some Salisbury steak for lunch today at King's.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet summer deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra this summer with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more details.
Oh, yeah, anytime anybody says get extra, I'm all for it. Show me the line to stand, and I'll be right there. Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title, when you absolutely, positively need confidentiality in your real estate transactions.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
What do you mean we got to work all week? Just a full work week? There's no day off in the middle for a parade or a fireworks or a typhoon?
I don't know. I'm feeling suddenly feverish today. I don't know.
It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I suppose we'll try to muddle through as best we can. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ray Gibson Show here on the actual Point 93.3. If I'm sorry, I just looked at something. Did we have another earthquake in Japan? Out in Osaka,
Yes,
6.1. I thought I just saw that on the Sky News here thing. That's, take a look at that and see if there's anything that we're going to need to rustle up the forces to go and help out. Anyway, I was trying to welcome you to the program at 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. Kevin Kerrigan will delight us and amaze us with news and information all morning long. Do you like the way I put that?
5.9 earthquake.
Is that what it is?
Well, that's what they say.
Just quick enough. All right. That's not the thing that caught my eye. What caught my eye was the flooding through there, and I thought, well, maybe this is one of those, they're getting ready for the onset of the storm deal that we've been talking about for the last several days. And over the weekend, I couldn't help but I could not resist posting on Facebook, the call to say a prayer or offering up some kind of thank you very much and a sense of appreciation to whatever it is that you call a god or superior being, that we didn't spend the last 2 days bucket flushing. Which is, and anybody that's old Pacific hands, anybody that's spent any time around here knows that, and especially as you watch the satellite imagery of this monster storm that's making its way through the Pacific, away from us, north and west of Guam, which is exactly where I like them. But it's just so cool that all weekend long, I didn't have to think about, how am I going to flush the toilet? Right? I didn't have to think of, where am I going to get the water for? What are we going to do about, because I don't live in a house with a swimming pool. How is that? How did that happen that I didn't get to move into a palatial place with a swimming pool? Because if you got a swimming pool, you don't worry about bucket flushing. You just go outside, grab a 5-gallon, and there you go. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. Nice. Is the old Pacific rule around here. And thank God we didn't have to worry about that. And most of the places that I went shopping at, they had everything that I needed. There weren't long lines for butter and milk and eggs and biscuitsu, and there were no long lines that I saw at any of the laundromats. So I thought, well, this was good. We did, I suppose, all right, but it doesn't mean that there are no remnants that we've got to deal with of this storm. You were talking about Anderson Air Force Base, and somebody's going to get an Article 15 for not taking those KC-135s and sending them out to Kadena or someplace.
You know what? It's not really their fault, though, because the Weather Service kind of blew it, and they admitted it. Now, it wasn't that they blew it on purpose. It's just this storm was just in its infancy, kind of toddler stages as it was coming over, and really started to form as it crossed us. And
exactly.
So
and form right on top of these KC-135s, these little tankers. I have no idea how many of them were molested by the storm or what the nature of the injuries were to the KC-135s. But just an interesting story. So we're not the only ones. I mean, you start talking about the response rate and GPA and do we clear enough lines and all of those things, and then we hear that there's somebody, what do you suppose, captain level, major level up there, it's going, ooh, this will not look good on my permanent Air Force record.
Yeah, there's a lieutenant somewhere with an upset tummy.
Exactly. 6:21 in the morning. 888-8255. That's how you get a hold of us here at the radio station. 888-8255 is the phone. Oh, the other remnants that I was thinking about. It was too late for me to respond. As in, I'd already gone to bed and woke up this morning, but there was a flurry of activity on the family WhatsApp chat. Apparently, Big Sister Shelley got near the house, and there were not one, but 2 brown tree snakes. She'd gone out, I don't know, novenas and masses, funerals, I don't know what she did yesterday. But she gets home, she drives to the house, and on the gate to the house, there's a brown tree snake.
Wow.
And Shelley does not cross the path of the brown tree snake. And even if she had found it in herself to be able to cross the path of the gate, of the primary gate to get into the house, there was another one on the steel door, the security door between that and the inside of the house.
Wow. And they weren't like guard snakes. People have those.
They're not guards now. I think she slept in a car last night. There's a very good chance that she might have.
I came home one day and I opened the screen door and lying on top of the screen door was this big brown flop right down on the concrete, and I jumped back and
you're not a small fella. You're not a slight guy. I mean but it'll put the fear of God into all kinds of primates, doesn't it?
Came as a surprise to me.
When you don't, what'd you do with it?
I let it alone, and walked away.
Never been back to that house since.
No.
We're moving is the answer to that. And I don't know if you've caught it as well, but I went out running yesterday out to Radio Barragata. It's one of my favorite places to run. Not a lot of traffic. If you can get past the Boers at springtime, you're going to be all right. But I take my shirt off when I run, because I'm hot that way. Whatever, right? So I took my shirt off. I was running bareback yesterday, and when I was done, I looked at my chest, and I was absolutely covered with these little black gnats.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
And it's not so much that it's that time of year. It's just that so much of the foliage has been disturbed out in the boondocks that they're going to get out there. Now, a warning here, just a warning, and I only know from my own personal experiences, non-doctor, non-medical personnel, but I have accidentally brought one of those. I breathed one in once or twice. Yeah, and I recall being congested for days. You get them stuck up in the nostril, and you get congested. I had buddy got it in his eye. And it was like conjunctivitis, except it wasn't. It just went red, and it did. So I'm just be careful out there. There's a lot of things. Roland Keatingua from the National, I don't know who the heck he's with anymore. Not that. Green waste could lead invasive species. Roland Keatingua, Extension Biosecurity Associate at the University of Guam Extension and Outreach. Awesome title, Ro. Love that. Extension Biosecurity Associate at the University of Guam. Anyway, so Roland says that we've got all these piles of green waste that come up since the storm and everything, and that's going to be breeding grounds for all of the invasive species. So watch out for all of the bugs and the vermin and the things that are going to be climbing in and out. Oh, speaking of vermin, they got some confirmation hearings over at the legislature.
Nice.
You like that segue? That was sweet. Now I got to mention the name.
Even better.
All right, what do we got here? Who's going to be there relative to recognizing and congratulating, you United States Army warrant officers? Now, never mind that. Committee on Housing, Utilities, Public Safety, yada, yada, yada. Following appointment, Eric Palacios, Director of the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency, to serve at the pleasure of the governor, yada, yada, yada. So I guess they're going to be having a confirmation hearing on that. Senator Chelena Nelson is going to be conducting that. And I wonder, because we do these hearings from time to time, and it's all, hey, I've known Mikey since the first grade, and he always, whenever I was losing my pencil, he always loaned me his, and there was one day, and I had a hole in my pants, and, he gave me a patch for the whole, but it's just whatever. I mean, it's always one of those things. What a great guy. I was with Eric when he cured cancer and saved us from a rogue meteorite that was about to hit the planet. He's just a really terrific guy and should be the Director of Guam Customs and Quarantine. Or will there be people that bring up some allegations of hinky activities that took place up in Saipan? Will there be any conversation about the balisons, the butterfly knives that he tried to bring? And I know he's addressed it. I know he's addressed it to the media and do it to others, but still, has that been resolved to the satisfaction of some over at the legislature that may have questions about some of these activities? And in fact, if this guy is the right fella to run Guam Customs and Quarantine, considering if you will, considering the incredible amount of drugs that continue to come into this island and is a scourge in this territory, and if that's going to be one of the places where we make our stand against drugs, is he the right guy to do it? Now, Eric and I have had our disagreements over the years. I recall a few years ago when Eric Palacios was over at the Environmental Protection Agency, and in my view, took advantage of the fact that there were no rules and regulations on how to spend money over at the EPA, especially where it came to what was it, the Recycling Revolving Fund. And then all of a sudden, the mayors start getting these brand new, just sweet looking trucks, and then there were a bunch of other trucks that came in behind them. And the idea was that they would be used only to help the mayors take care of recycling in the village. But pretty soon you start seeing them over at the gas station and people making hot dog runs, and pretty soon you see them at the car line over at the boy, there were guys that were sending me pictures. They knew how hot I was about this. There was a guy, one of the mayors, Mongmong Totomaiti or something like that, that was picking up and dropping off his kid over at the bus depot. right?
In a garbage truck.
Well, it wasn't necessarily a garbage truck. It was good-looking trucks.
Yeah.
It was brand new, high-flying, high-riding trucks. You know, the big ones. These are the kinds that don't fit at Dusitani. That's how big they are, right?
Okay, yeah.
So they're driving around and they're doing pretty much everything except anything to do with recycling and cleaning up the village. It was like for running errands. And I seen these guys picking up and dropping people off at the airport with them.
They're just keeping the engines loose. You know, they're keeping all the parts working. Make sure everything stays.
Because for heaven's sakes, you know, you take care of a whole lot of the recycling and revolving stuff in the villages in about 10 or 15 minutes. It's 6:29 in the morning. Anyway, so I hope that maybe somebody will bring those kinds of things up. If you think he deserves the job, then great, he deserves the job. I just thought it was playing fast and loose, and he's not the only one that plays fast and loose with those special funds. So I'm just saying, just kind of one of those examples in there. 6:29 in the morning, 888-8255. Keep that number handy. Are there other items in the table of contents? Well, just one, and I am with my buddy Carl with a K. It got to be Saturday night, and 5:30 on Saturday. And I'm looking out the door, and I'm thinking, am I going to make it to Tumont tonight? Am I going to make it to the big barbecue block party tonight? And then just like it was a sign from God, the rain starts coming down. And it's not coming down. It's not sprinkling. I mean, this is mean, angry rain. This is almost wrath of barbecue God rain coming down in the backyard of the house. Or maybe it was a front yard. It was raining hard. And I thought, well, maybe I know it's not canceled. I knew it was going to be canceled. I just didn't want to have to go through the time, trouble, and effort of getting the parking, walking to the thing, and then risking getting doused in the rain all night long. And so I didn't go. And almost immediately on Sunday morning, as I'm opening up social media, thousands of people who braved the rain. And it looked like a barbecue Woodstock, for heaven's sakes. And I'm going, I should have gone. I should have gone. Can we do it again this weekend?
Redo.
Redo. Now we get that thing at Kento's on Saturday night, so I don't know. But it just, if you went and you had a good time, good for you. Good for you. If unfortunately you were like me and looked at the rain and blew it off, oh man, it looks like we missed out on a hell of a party. 6:30 in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show, and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. The recently concluded tax amnesty program could reap $30 million or more from delinquent taxpayers if they fulfill their commitment to pay the balance due by the August 6th deadline. That would be significantly more than earlier estimates of $20 to $25 million. During a legislative hearing last Thursday night, DOA Director Edward Burns said that John Camacho, the Director of Rev and Tax, recently said the total was likely to be between $30 and $32 million. Camacho would have to confirm that final number, however, Burns said. Of that amount, Burns said DOA has received $13 million, and all of it has already been spent. Byrne told the legislature that the $13 million was spent on items that were already appropriated and on reducing payables. A July 4th crash involving a Guam Police Department vehicle that resulted in multiple injuries is under investigation. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau reports that the preliminary investigation indicates that the crash happened just after midnight July 4th on Marine Corps Drive by the Kmart. Tapau said the officer who was driving the vehicle was transported to GMH for injuries. 4 individuals in the other car also sustained minor injuries. The vehicle was assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division. Highway Patrol is investigating. Police have not said whether the officer who was driving the GPD vehicle was on duty or not. The Micronesian Games Organizing Committee says that the Yap state government was responsible for the contract with a Philippine cruise ship operator who is now facing an investigation for an alleged attempt to transport undocumented Filipino workers to Yap. In response to a request for comment from the Guam Daily Post, the committee also confirmed that the Philippine Coast Guard has determined that the ship was not seaworthy to carry the number of passengers on board. Philippine authorities last week announced the cruise ship, the MV Forever Lucky, was intercepted while preparing to set sail for Yap with 139 undocumented Filipino workers. The Philippine Daily Inquirer interviewed some of those workers who said that applicants were told that they would eventually land a job here on Guam. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Portions of the newscast and this time check here at 6:33 brought to you by iConnect. Connect longer with, for less. It's Monday. I got to retrain myself. Connect longer for less with their incredible push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm back in Guam ready to set off the fireworks with our 4th of July sale at Furniture Kathy Style. It's packed with fabulous furniture and prices that will blow your mind. Get 15 to 25% off store-wide or 12 months interest-free with approved credit. Our beautiful lamps are buy one, get one 50% off. Save big on hot deals like our 4-piece Ashley Sleigh bedroom set, starting at just $4.99. Stop by and see us at Furniture Kathy Style in Hagåtña.
I think it will. That's a good idea. Portions of this program brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Is there going to be traffic today, you suppose, Monday, after the big did not get rained out barbecue fest down in Tumon? I'm not seeing anything right now, but let me just refresh here. I just want to press another couple of buttons on the gizmo to see if there's anything happening. There it is. There's the traffic that is starting to happen. What have I got? A little something over by the old Wise Owl as you make your way towards Marine Corps Drive from Governor Carlos Camacho Road, the old hospital road. Might see a little bit of a slowdown through there. Traffic beginning to build in most of the usual areas, northbound, southbound Marine Corps Drive. And there was one other spot that it looked like there might be a little bit of a slowdown. There it is, headed up from Marine Corps Drive, up the Teedzon Parkway, through the Guam International Airport. Just trying to get past that first intersection after Sunset Boulevard. But otherwise, things seem to be coming in as they're supposed to be here this morning. Don't anticipate any serious delays, but watch out for areas where traffic is beginning to build up. It's 6:36. That's right now traffic on the point.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Chili's Ribfest is back. You can get saucy with their fall off the bone, slow smoked half rack of ribs for $10.99. Available in original, roasted garlic, or honey chipotle flavors. Served with home style fries. Add an additional half rack of ribs for just $7. Low and slow is the key to more flavor. Chili's Ribfest for $10.99. Available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters.
It's 6:36 on a Monday kind of morning. No, not a Monday kind of morning. It actually is Monday morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore, and a ton of stuff that is left over from earlier in the week that we get to talk about, and I'll share some of those ideas with you in just a second. But one of the things I didn't do in the first part of the program because I was busy talking about brown tree snakes and the little black bugs that come out as I neglected to say good morning to everybody that is on the Facebook Live, and it wouldn't be fair. Wouldn't be right.
Where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
And everybody cozying up with the Facebook Live this morning, including Gwen Timinglu. I got Lynn Vince, Borja Polino, Levon Guerrero Meno. Nick Prolosky says, "Hoi!" And that's how we say. That's the old way of saying, "Don't shoot me. I'm a friend." Hoi! I'm making a noise from far away, so you know it's just a friendly old voice running up to the house. Please don't shoot me. I'm not a Japanese straggler or anything like that. Linda Perez says, thank God for sparing my island of Guam and just hearing minimal damage for my loved ones, and miss you all, familia. Linda's out in California, I want to say. Bill Pettit is there. The pretty Ashley is online this morning. Hoffa Mary Cruz saying good morning. Michael Manessa Nauta is also extending morning greetings to everybody. Kylan Eckert, good to see you. Coach Evelyn Trinidad, Roy Burgess, Henry Gonzalez, Hoffa Cuz. There's Pedro Guerrero and Carla Torres Haddock. One of my favorite nurses is out there. Have they put you in charge of the hospital yet, Carla? Any minute now, right? Odessa Palacios, there's Juanita Machi, Bob and Connie Bartonico, Army Strong, seniors. Carl and Jerry Gutierrez are up, and he's got the thumbs up, everybody. Lynn Tadinko is there, Rosemarie Ogo, Jackie Diaz, Donna Blas Cartwright, who is out in the Carolinas right now and has done some shopping today and reports to me in a separate side chat that she managed to find Pop Rocks. Do you remember Pop Rocks?
Long time ago, where there were white bits of candy, right?
A little candy, and they put some carbonation in them.
Yeah.
And the idea is you put these things on your tongue, and they pop. And it's just, I mean, I don't remember them being a great flavor sensation, but it was just.
I didn't know they made them anymore.
Yeah, apparently you can still find them. See, but you remember there was an old wives' tales. Michael will remember if you have like Pop Rocks and Coke or something like that. You remember that old wives' tale of Pop Rocks and Coke?
Well, it wasn't really an old wives' tale. The soda would actually combine with the carbonation in the, because it's really strong bicarbonate of sodas in the Pop Rocks. So you put two carbonates together, and they're just going to go. Blah, blah, blah.
But they say that's what killed the kid Mikey from the Life commercial. You remember?
That's what they say. Yeah, because he'd eat anything.
I don't think it actually happened, but anyway. So Donna found something. It's a store that sells like 80s stuff, which would be for me. That would be like the coolest place in the world.
Pop Rocks, weren't they like in grape and strawberry flavor?
Orange flavors, yeah, they were cool. I remember there used to be a store by the old radio station we go to, and it's where I'd go for my I'd get Mountain Dew and smokes and candy there. And every once in a while I didn't get the regular candy bar that I like. There's one, it's the 100 grand bar, you know, that's the one, the little chocolate thing on top of the chocolate that they put in the chocolate cookies with the wafers made of chocolate in between. Anyway, not enough chocolate in those, but they were just, that is, a lot of people attribute, trying to figure out, you know, to what I attribute my success on the radio in the 1980s. It was I was basically high on Mountain Dew and chocolate the entire time. Absolutely. But an 80s store, I love the idea, Donna. See if they have a leather members-only jacket in size M, right? I used to have one. I had one all the way through the 80s, and then Bobby Brown came to Guam and stole it. Anyway, Lillian Cruz is there. Randy Kruger's there. Yvette Ibanez, Hoffa. Lillian Cruz, good to see you there. Kamaka Alston and Bob Camacho, Lee Stahl. Who else? There's got to be 100 people here to say. Nick Haydock, Jimmy Moylan, Loli Kamet, Dave Duenas, Beck Salazar, Charlene Marchessault, Tommy Barcinas. The line doesn't seem to be getting any smaller here. Ismail Valiz. And, wow, almost got to stop here. Albert Eliason, Tony D'Angelo, good to see everybody here. Do me a favor, since you're already all online, press the share button and invite more of your family and friends to hang out with me this morning. I really, really want to see if I can make this just a terrific Monday morning. I love the interaction, love the commentary that you guys are. Donna Blas says it's cherry. That's what she's... Okay, impure thoughts. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm just, anyway, so 6:42 in the morning, 888-8255. That's 888-8255. A couple of online polls. Yes, it is today. And let me just go through this because I couldn't resist the temptation. So I've got a couple of some interesting polls and poll numbers that are out, and let me share those with you. And I might need to get away from the conversation here real quick, depending on who is there. It is. And no, this is important now. Roland Kitigwa is on the line, and let me just one more time. What is that great title they gave you? Extension Biosecurity Associate at the University. That's like Avengers stuff, dude. What do you do? Biosecurity, man. Back off.
All that means is that I got a big target on my back.
I suppose you do. How you been, buddy?
It's just it's a big target for blame. That's all it is.
No. Look, I don't blame you. I don't know who to blame. I mean, invasive species are tough to keep a handle on, and they come, and unfortunately they never go. I was talking about brown tree snakes, and we're going to talk about rhino beetles and little red fire ants and all of those things. We haven't had a good conversation about that in a long time. Not since I was at the other radio station. How you been?
I've been busy. You know. It's a everyday battle.
And an uphill battle at that. Hey, did I see new kind of look like some kind of varmint traps on Route 8? Look like little black houses. Look like snake traps, but I'm not sure.
Technically, are you talking about the ones that are running vertical, black on top? Yeah. Those are technically the same as the panel traps. Same thing with the ones we have with the big 5-gallon buckets, but those are just commercially available ones that we don't have to reconstruct and build from scratch.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So those have been taken and modified to be used for rhino beetles. So there's a little cup on the bottom that catches everything.
Now, is that the pheromone trap?
Yes, correct. That is using the same pheromone as the standard pheromone that we've been using since the beginning.
And have you had any success with that? I mean, what kind to say? I mean, obviously it hasn't eradicated the rhino beetle issue around here, but still.
Well, that's all part of what's going on, and that was, Guam was the rhino beetle had not moved in the Pacific for 30 years. All of a sudden, they find it in Guam, and then what we do is we employ all the traditional control methods that have been used in the Pacific, but it wasn't working. So when we started to take apart all the different components, that's when we found out that the beetle has changed. It's evolved, and there's a new biotype. So at least on Guam, the lure and the traps, the traditional traps that they've been using, do not work as efficiently as they did elsewhere. And I have even.
Can I just stop you, because you know that deep inside my brain, I'm basically an 11-year-old. So when you start talking about a new biotype, I'm thinking automatically, do they have lasers? Do they have the little horn? They got a little laser that pops out.
Kind of like, when you go to the store and you buy watermelon.
Yeah.
And then you walk in there and there's the traditional red watermelon that they import, but then all of a sudden, wait a minute, there's 2 or 3 different other varieties of watermelon. They're still watermelon, but they're different varieties.
Yeah.
They're all, obviously going to look different, and they're going to taste a little different. Well, the same thing happened with this beetle, and that is they've been controlled for the past 30 years with the same biological controls. So obviously there is going to be an evolution. And that's the crazy thing about insects. Because their insect life cycles are so short, that they have so many life cycles within a year that they can evolve so much faster than we can keep up with them with our controls.
Okay, so but at this point, no lasers on their heads or acid blood?
Not quite yet.
I'm trying to make Mike laugh, and he's not doing it.
Well, you open the door, so hell, I'll go down that road with you.
Okay.
So what's happening is we are currently the lure works enough for us to detect whether there are rhino beetles in the area, and so one of the things that we have to do is get the island white trapping up again, because we are testing a bunch of new different controls. And in order to do that, we need to know whether or not the traps are catching more or less because of the changes that we're making, or is it just the population going up and down? So you're going to be seeing those buckets, those panel traps around the island. We will be checking that. But in the meantime, I've got some guys coming in from the agriculture research, what do you call it? The agriculture research, what is ARS? Agricultural Research.
I know it's Monday. Don't worry about it.
That's what it is. Agriculture Research Service. That's what it is, out of USDA. So I've been working with these guys, and they're testing a bunch of different chemicals that they're pulling off of trees we've done some. They're continuing the work that we did with P-bark out of Hawaii, and what we've done is we've pulled different chemicals out of the coconut trees and out of beetles and out of compost, and we're trying to see if we can find chemicals that the beetles are more attractive to, and if we can capture that and then synthesize it and put it in a little lure, you might be able to increase the trap catches.
Right. So basically trying to trick them. I mean, the pheromones seem to be working, have some degree of success, but it's not 100%. So let's do something else. What else are these bugs attracted to? And obviously they're attracted to coconut trees, so let's see if we can synthesize something that will be irresistible to them, get them into the trap thinking it is a coconut tree, and then they can die in the water.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you.
Exactly.
I got you. What's the big concern right now about with the storm debris? As I was saying, all of the foliage has been messed up out there. It's not all on the ground, but there's enough of it here that it's disturbing environments. We've got the brown tree snakes that are looking to get out of the jungles because of all the trauma that their backyards have gone through. We've got the little black bugs that are out there with a little bit more, and there's a concern now that we might be transplanting or otherwise creating an environment that would be conducive to transplanting whole colonies of fire ants and these rhinoceros beetles?
Well, the first thing that I would say is that what everybody needs to do is manage their greenways. So around your home, around your properties, what we have to do is start cleaning up and then making sure that we don't just leave these greenways out there unmanaged, because that's the worst thing that we can do.
Burn it.
Especially, well, there's a couple of things there. Is burning an option? The answer is yes. Is it the best option? Will depend on a number of different things. First off, I'm a firm believer that if we've got nothing better to do with it, if there's no other option, then let's go ahead and burn it. But we'll never burn our way out of this. We are always producing green waste. So it'll be a never-ending cycle,
I guess.
And the other thing that bothers me is if we are truly moving towards being more sustainable and talking about food security, why are we burning the natural resource, of that organic matter that should be enriching the soil for us to grow nutritious, healthy food for our people?
Yeah, you got to make some tough choices, and best to do that with research.
It's not an either or, but we have to find the area where we're willing to live between that. Because, like I said, we need to create a bunch of different tools and then use those tools where appropriate, depending on the management strategy for the particular situation.
A friend of mine online is asking about something that used to be done when she was a flight attendant. Donna says a long time ago they used to spray the aircraft in order to avoid any kind of infestation. Is there a way that they can continue to do this, but not through the actual spraying of the bug zapper on the crew and the customers and the pilots and all of that?
And that's why they don't do it anymore.
Aha.
I mean, yeah. So pardon me. I do know that the airplanes used to be sent somewhere off island and be treated periodically to make sure that the planes are fumigated and clean. I'm not sure what the status is for that program anymore, but nowadays, we try to stay away from doing things like that because we're finding, over constant exposure to a lot of these pesticides over time, people are seeing some long-term effects. So U.S. EPA doesn't really look favorably upon that, and neither does the common folk.
Yeah. Is there also the concern that with some of these pesticides that have been sprayed, as you're saying, we've got new biotypes that are coming up all the time and actual evolution right before our very eyes? Is that a concern that there are eventually going to be some pesticides that these bugs are just immune to?
Use of pesticides is actually the one of the things that we have to be careful with, because they will evolve so much rapidly with that. Because what happens is when you use pesticides, you knock off, the first thing that you do is knock off the ones that are susceptible. And so you end up with the more resistant ones reproducing and therefore being a larger demographic. And over time, that being the dominant population. So there is no silver bullet. It's about managing. It's about understanding, whatever the organism that you're dealing with, and then implementing the appropriate control strategies that are available to you. And so let me get back to the green waste.
Yeah. That's what we originally called about. I'm sorry. It's very, very typical. Every time Roland and I have ever been in a conversation, it's always meandered to a degree, and that's all right because it always meanders into something that I always think is even more interesting than the initial reason for the call.
So with the green waste, what I recommend that people do is first and foremost is you need to make sure that you know what's on your property. If you've got rhino beetle, you've got to deal with that appropriately. If you don't have rhino beetle and you leave the green waste, you will have rhino beetle.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that? You can just take that green waste, and if it's only got rhino beetle, you can move it to an approved green waste site. Let's not take it and just throw it and shove it in the jungle, because all you did was move it a little further. If you are going to just stage that green waste site and deal with it later, throw the Tekken netting on it, and that's the bare minimum that you can do. If the material is already infested and you throw the Tekken net over it, it prevents the rhino beetles that are in there from escaping. So it's a two-way. Number one, it acts as a trap, keeping those rhino beetles away from your palm trees and coconuts. And if it's already got rhino beetle, it prevents them from emerging out and attacking your coconuts and your palms.
I was at Guam Hardwood yesterday because I've got this thing for the Yeti coolers that they have that I can't afford. I'm just saying. So next time somebody wants to give me something for my birthday or just because it's Monday, big Yeti cooler. That's all I'm saying. So I was up there coveting them again over the weekend, and I did not see. Is there a special place that they've got in that store where the Tekken nets are?
Ask them. Yeah, it's in the back.
Okay.
Over like where the electrical section is at, and just ask the staffers and they'll cut you whatever length of netting that you need. It's pretty difficult and cumbersome to manage a large piece. So one of the tricks that the people are using nowadays is you cut them into small pieces, maybe like 20 feet wide. So you have these small little patches, and you just lay it on top of your green waste, and it'll work fine.
Right.
And
so that and again, it prevents motion in both directions. It won't let anything that's in there won't be able to get out. Anything that's outside won't be able to get in.
That is correct. And so, also what happens here is that there are areas where people live in family compounds or, little cul-de-sac where 3 or 4 houses, they have one little area where everybody throws their green waste. So in that case where you've been throwing green waste in a particular area for an extended length of time, what my recommendation is wherever that pile is, just cover it with the Tekken netting, and then continue to throw your green waste on top, and then every 30 days throw another net on top. You're basically making a lasagna, but you're mitigating what's already in that pile.
I got you. 6:55 in the morning. Ro, it's always a delight talking with you.
No problem.
I'm glad somebody's watching out for the bugs.
Careful, though, is we need people need to watch out for the little fire ants. So maybe we can do that at another time after you catch the news or whatever.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, I'll find you.
Okay.
I'll find you.
All right.
Fire ants, it's absolutely one of the scariest things in the world because they're so small. And unlike some of the other ants, they can go up in the trees. And so you're out there, running around or doing some boonie stomping or something like that. You brush up against a tree that you brushed up 100 times before, but there might actually be something in there that will give you a couple of bites. Looking at traffic just before I'm all done, I want to say, where's this by? It looks like there might be a little bit of a slowdown moving in front of the Onward Beach Resort area. That will take you from Oka towards Marine Corps Drive. It looks like the settled work in front of the intersection of Camacho Road and Marine Corps Drive, and it looks like there might be a little bit of a slowdown work in northbound Marine Corps Drive from about where Kmart intersection is up to Public Works, kind of like right in front of the radio station. So traffic moving a little bit slower already. As I said, a couple of very interesting surveys that are out there, some interesting poll work, and I couldn't resist the opportunity to ask you over the last couple of days, over the weekend, what your thoughts were on this election. Has your support for any candidates changed in the last few weeks? And the reason why I bring this question up again, well, there's two of them, is because virtually everybody has at this point come out with some kind of a platform, some planks of their platform, a little bit more of a, this is what we are going to do day one as soon as we are elected governor, yada, yada, yada. So has any of that changed for you? Or certain headlines that you've seen or heard, has that changed your views? Has your support for any candidates changed in the last few weeks? And the choices are nope, still voting for Carl, nope, still voting for Lou, nope, still voting for Frank, nope, still voting for Dennis, and nope, still voting for Ray, or yes. Yes, my feelings have changed, but I didn't want to do yes, I've switched from to, otherwise they'd just take up the whole page, right? Yeah. So basically, no, I'm sticking where I'm at, and yes are your options, and I'll look over the results here in just a second. But there's another poll that I wanted to, frankly, I was alerted to it this morning, and I shared it initially with Yuka Hechanova, who is running for the post of Guam's public auditor. Who should be Guam's next public auditor? And your choices are Benjamin Cruz, Doreen Crisostomo, and Yuka Cabrera. I'm sorry, Yuka who? Says Yuka Cabrera on the poll. So Yuka's not getting all of the votes maybe that she should be getting because the last name is not right. So she gets to take care of that. Yuka Cabrera in third place on that poll behind Doreen Crisostomo, but far and away 45% of the votes so far, or 45 votes. I'm not sure on how to read this one, but BJ Cruz doing better. So has your support for any candidates changed in the last few weeks? According to our online poll, nope, still voting for Ray. 43.02% of our online voters have suggested that they have not wavered at all, and Ray is their man. Carl Gutierrez at 37.36, Dennis at 16.98, just a handful for Lulian Guerrero and Frank, and yes, gets 0. Well, I suppose that's good for Lou and Frank. There's room for them to grow. The radio station you're listening to is KUSG Hagåtña. My name is Ray Gibson. Thanks so much for being a part of the early morning broadcast. Lots more to go over in the coming hours of the program, so I don't want you to miss a second of it. Stay right here on The Point 93.3. Fox News next.
Countdown to the big announcement. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. Who will President Trump pick for the next Supreme Court justice?
This person will do a great job, but I'm very close to making a decision. Have not made it official yet, obviously.
The president a short time ago before heading back to Washington from his New Jersey golf club. 4 candidates remain in the running. Senate Republican Lindsey Graham on Fox News Sunday.
Republicans are holding 4 lottery tickets, and all of them are winners.
Senate Democrat Richard Blumenthal on ABC's This Week doesn't see any winners in the bunch.
I've never seen a president of the United States, in effect, make himself a puppet of outside groups and choose from a group of right-wing fringe ideologues.
After the president's announcement tomorrow night, he flies to Brussels Tuesday morning for the annual NATO summit.
When it comes to foreign policy and defense issues, the big-ticket items on the agenda for the summit include the international migrant crisis, the Syrian civil war, North Korea's nuclear threat, the Iran nuclear deal, and cybersecurity.
Fox's Jillian Turner. A race against time and water. Mother Nature a concern for efforts to rescue members of a youth soccer team and their coach from a cave in Thailand.
The big concern right now is the rain. It is pouring here tonight in Mae Sai, Thailand, which could only further complicate those rescue efforts for the remaining 8 players and their coach. The local governor here just got on TV and gave out a few new tidbits and information saying that he can confirm that 4 of the 12 players have been rescued. The coach still remains in the cave. They were taken straight to the hospital for medical care.
Fox's Jeff Paul. A British woman poisoned last month with a nerve agent has died. Her partner also poisoned and remains hospitalized. Authorities confirming it was the same nerve agent used on a former Russian spy and his daughter in March. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
is Kathy, and I'm back in Guam ready to set off the fireworks with our 4th of July sale at Furniture Kathy Style. It's packed with fabulous furniture and prices that will blow your mind. Get 15 to 25% off store-wide or 12 months interest-free with approved credit. Our beautiful lamps are buy one, get one 50% off. Save big on hot deals like our 4-piece Ashley Slade bedroom set, starting at just $4.99. Stop by and see us at Furniture Kathy Style in Hagatna.
Tropical storm Beryl pelting parts of the eastern Caribbean with rain and gusty winds. Fox's Phil Keating in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
The surf is churning, but people are still in the water. And the state of emergency ordered by the governor on Friday does, in fact, remain in effect. But at this point, it's just a precautionary warning because the hurricane threat Friday and Saturday morning is now dead.
Beryl has some company in the Atlantic.
We've got another named storm that just was named overnight last night, Tropical Storm Chris. This is now just off the coast of the Carolinas, Virginia. It is forecasted to run up to a Category 1 hurricane, but this is going to stay offshore. Maybe some rip current issues.
Fox News meteorologist Adam Klotz. A rare visit to North Korea by the UN's humanitarian aid chief.
The visit by Mark Lowcock is the first of its kind since 2011. The UN saying he'll meet with government officials, humanitarian partners and people receiving aid. UN figures say more than 10 million people in North Korea, roughly 40% of the population, are in need of humanitarian assistance, and that 1 in 5 children show signs of stunted growth. It's thought North Korea may be allowing the visit in the hope of winning more aid money. Humanitarian agencies have struggled to secure funding in recent months. Simon Owen, Fox News.
Sledding in a heat wave? You heard that right. Vermont Public Radio reports a sliding track in the town of Craftberry was one of the coolest places to be during last week's heat wave. The Craftberry Outdoor Center saving up enough snow at the end of the ski season so people could trade sweating for sledding. Dinosaurs couldn't dominate a pair of tiny titans.
So, how long have you been Ant-Man again?
Not long. It just sort of happened.
Ant-Man and the Wasp opening at the top spot of the box office, grossing an estimated $76 million. Incredibles 2 coming in second, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom falling to third. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News Radio.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet summer deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra this summer with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit gta.net for more details.
Water. It covers nearly 3/4 of our Earth, from vast oceans to millions of rivers and streams. We're all concerned with protecting our world's water, but none is more important than the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve your water so that your family is using the best water in the world. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. It's summer, and KFC has something extra special to spice it up with KFC's new Sriracha Extra Tasty Crispy Chicken. Yup, we kicked up our Pika chicken a notch with Sriracha. It's spicy, tangy, and sweet. You've never had Sriracha like this before, so spice up your summer with KFC's new Sriracha Crispy Chicken. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy to spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. take it easy.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A freeze on hiring, pay raises, and off-island trips will be mandatory parts of the 2019 budget that Speaker Benjamin Cruz will bring to the floor in the coming weeks. In a Dear Colleague letter to his fellow senators yesterday, the Speaker wrote that $145 million in additional revenue would be needed to reach the same appropriation levels approved this fiscal year. He offered his colleagues a stark choice between cutting millions more in next year's budget or raising additional revenues. A $145 million cut in spending, he wrote, will demand an awful price from every single member of this community, wrote the Speaker. The alternative, he writes, is to achieve meaningful reductions to appropriations, enact tough spending controls, and raise revenues responsibly. Speaker said it's hard to justify raising taxes when so many GovGuam officials are liable for atrocious financial screw-ups. But no one can cut $145 million in a single fiscal year, he said, without crippling the economy and posing a direct danger to the island's health and safety. The Micronesian Games Organizing Committee says the Yap State government is responsible for the contract with the Philippine cruise ship operator, who is now facing an investigation for an alleged attempt to transport undocumented Filipino workers to Yap. In a response to a request for comment from the Guam Daily Post, the committee also confirmed that the Philippine Coast Guard has determined that the ship was not seaworthy to carry the number of passengers found on board. Philippine authorities last week said the cruise ship MV Forever Lucky was intercepted while preparing to set sail for Yap with 139 undocumented Filipino workers, including masseuses, pig roasters, and tattoo artists. The authorities have classified the case as human smuggling. The Philippine Daily Inquirer interviewed some of the workers who said that applicants were told they could eventually land jobs on Guam. We'll have more news after this.
As we journey through 2018, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The recently concluded tax amnesty program could reap $30 million or more from delinquent taxpayers if they fulfill their commitment to pay the balance due by the August 6 deadline. That would be significantly more than earlier estimates of between $20 and $25 million. During a legislative hearing last Thursday, DOA Director Edward Burns said Revenue Tax Director John Camacho recently said the total was likely to be between $30 and $32 million. Camacho, however, told the Guam Daily Post Friday that they made their goal of $25 million, but he said his revenue officers are still reconciling and double-checking the final numbers. He expects to release that final report on the amnesty program later this week. A July 4th crash involving a Guam Police Department vehicle that resulted in multiple injuries is under investigation. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says that the preliminary investigation indicates that the crash happened just after midnight, July 4th on Marine Corps Drive near the Kmart. Tapau says the officer driving the GPD vehicle was transported to GMH for injuries. 4 individuals in the other vehicle sustained minor injuries. The vehicle was assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division. Highway Patrol is investigating. Police have not said whether the officer driving was on duty while using the official vehicle. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray with some weather.
Well, thanks very much. Partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. East winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, decreasing after sunset. Expected daytime highs today about 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. That's followed by clouds of these rhinoceros beetles with lasers on their heads and acid for blood. Just be on the lookout for those. So a little bit of raid will make them go away. I'm sorry, I'm just infatuated with the idea of these bio species, these new biotypes that are popping up here.
Shotguns work.
You think?
Oh, absolutely.
Just spray them into the crowd. Sunset tonight, 6:52. Sunrise tomorrow morning, about 5:59. If you're wondering, Super Typhoon Maria has moved well away from the area, allowing conditions to return to a normal trade wind pattern. So that's what we like to refer to as normal. If you're still not all put together, that's totally your issue, not ours. That's News and Weather Together, brought to you by our friends over at Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Portions of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant, where we've got Salisbury steak on a Monday because we know that's what you like to eat on Mondays. They've got years of research in this market, and they know where your taste buds lie. So don't let your taste buds lie. Swing by King's for lunch.
From September 17 to September 19, 2018, the Archdiocese of Agana will be conducting settlement conferences with victims of clergy abuse. If you have a claim and want to meaningfully participate in the September settlement conferences, call Hope and Healing Guam at 1-888-649-5288 before August 1st, 2018. All conversations with Hope and Healing Guam are confidential. If you have filed a lawsuit against the Archdiocese, you are already included in this settlement process.
And the Ray Gibson Show is also brought to you by our friends over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all begins with yes.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Chili's Rib Fest is back. You can get saucy with their fall off the bone, slow smoked half rack of ribs for $10.99. Available in original, roasted garlic, or honey chipotle flavors. Served with home style fries. Add an additional half rack of ribs for just $7. Low and slow is the key to more flavor. Chili's Rib Fest for $10.99. Available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out.
So what's the difference between a Salisbury steak and a Hamburg steak? Anybody? You want to venture a guess?
No, I'm just guessing that the Salisbury steak tends to be cooked in gravy, whereas hamburger steak is cooked more in a skillet or on the grill, and then you put gravy on
top.
it.
But it's a Salisbury steak, a dish made from a blend of ground beef and other ingredients, which is shaped to resemble a steak and is usually served with gravy or brown sauce. Hamburg steak is a similar product but differs in ingredients. Salisbury steak was invented by an American physician, Dr. J.H. Salisbury. So it's named after a guy, not a place.
Well, I'm kind of blown away that it was a doctor on top of it.
Right? Well, apparently the original recipe was some kind of low-carbohydrate diet, a proponent of a low-carbohydrate diet for weight loss. The term Salisbury steak has been in use in the United States since 1897. The dish is popular in the United States, where it's traditionally served with gravy and mashed potatoes or noodles. And then it goes on to talk about the Hamburg steak, popular Salisbury steak dish in Japan, made from ground meat with finely chopped onions, egg, and breadcrumbs, flavored with various spices, made into a flat circular shape about a centimeter thick. Many restaurants specialize in various styles of Hamburg steak. Some variations include hanbagu, which is the Hamburg steak topped with cheese. Then there's hanbagu with Japanese curry, and Italian hanbagu with his tomato sauce rather than gravy.
Wow. Well, This is a land where they have, what is it? The Twix in a million flavors.
But they've got rhinoceros beetles with lasers and acid blood.
Yeah, well.
Just saying, because they're so far ahead.
Well, not only that, but they had, a couple of nuclear power plants blow up over there in the last few years.
In Hawaii, hamburger steak is very similar to the Japanese hanbagu. It consists of a burger patty with brown gravy, usually served with macaroni salad and rice in what they call their plate lunch. And there's also a variety which includes an egg, which is called...
Egg?
It's a loco moco.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is local. I haven't had one in so long. I forgot what one was.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Hawaii
was the last time I had one.
Those are so good. And so, I maybe it was in the last 5 or 6 years that I've had one, that I had my very first one.
Really? Okay.
Yes. And now it's one of those things. If I go into a restaurant, and sometimes I'll do this. So I'll go into a restaurant, and it might be someplace new, or might be just have, this highfalutin recipe, menu items. And the truth of the matter is, I don't like to take chances, because I don't want to spend $20 on a meal and go, oh, I hated that. Look, there's a cheeseburger. I could have had a $15 cheeseburger. I would have been just as happy, right?
Right.
So that's my thing. So I'll go into a restaurant, and if they don't have cheeseburger on the menu, I'm getting to a point now where I'm asking for Loco Moco, because most people can sort how to do that. So at 7:18, anyway, something to think about in the morning. Hey, it's time to take a look at what happened on the markets here. What's the big deal? Everybody closed in the green. What a happy day this is. Investors cheering the S&P 500 up by 23 points to close at 2759. The NASDAQ will open tomorrow morning at about 101 points in the green, 7,688. Dow Jones Industrial Average just shy of 100 points worth of gain, 24,446. The FTSE is up. The Nikkei is up at 21,788. They picked up 241 points. Hang Seng's going to open this morning at 133 points greener, 28,315. Shanghai's up by a dozen points or so. The DAX is even up by 31. I like saying the DAX. I never paid any attention to the DAX until I started watching that British guy on CNN. You know the guy I'm talking about? He always talks about the DAX. It's the way he says DAX. Just makes it that much more interesting. Gold at 1,255. And what's the big deal? I think there are a lot of people, especially the Trump-hating media, that is trying to make a big deal about the trade war. The trade war. Trade war with Canada. You got a trade war with China. Yeah, you know what? Wall Street said, what trade war? We're not going to worry about that right now. Stocks up as Wall Street cheers a jobs report. The U.S. economy added 213,000 jobs in June, while economists polled by Reuters expect a gain of 195,000, lifting investors' sentiments. Wall Street also shrugged off worries of a trade war between the U.S. and China, despite both countries officially implementing tariffs against each other. And so there you go, 213,000 new jobs in there, and that goes towards the idea that you know what, maybe we are going to run into a time where there's something like a labor shortage. If we've added all of these jobs and people are going back to work, there might not be enough people skilled and diplomaed people to take on some of these jobs that we've got going on around here. On the other hand, I do want to indicate, if you haven't seen this story yet, then I want you to start looking at it. Luella Lucino, is that her name? Is that how we say her name at your shop, Luella?
Yes.
Okay, Luella, a great story about Jollibee is starting to hire for the Guam store. They got $2 million worth of an investment that they're putting into the Jollibee restaurant project at what is going to be the intersection of Marine Corps Drive and the Micronesia Mall. We're still referred to it as the mall intersection, right? But I got a feeling, after this thing is all open, we'll call it the Jollibee intersection.
And I've got to tell you, man, Filipino folks here are abuzz. I mean, literally abuzz.
Right.
About Jollibee. And that's not I really wasn't trying to do that.
The buzz bee?
Yeah. But they really are. I mean, they're really excited about it getting here. So
why not?
Oh, yeah.
Why not? I mean, the last time I was in Manila, I mean, you make your pilgrimage.
Oh, yeah.
You make the pilgrimage.
Well, it's a little taste from home. I mean, that would be like me and Blake if they opened up a Whataburger here on Guam.
Right.
Blake and I would we would lose
Live
our
there.
minds. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pop a 10 up in the parking lot.
Well, like when
I'm
they
set.
opened up Home Depot, I'd go every day just to see what they brought in. Did
There you
you
go.
put anything else in here? Did we whole nother section? I need this. I need 20 of those. I need one of each over at the Home Depot place. Anyway, Jollibee posted a recruitment notice in June at GCC seeking applications from those who might be interested in joining the restaurant team. The food establishment is looking for managers, supervisors, and crew members. According to the information posted by the company, the hiring process for crew members will begin at the end of the year. Wow. You want to talk about staging, huh? Applicants were advised to submit their resumes to hiring@jollibee.com. And so before too much longer, kids, we can look forward to Chicken Joy.
That's right.
Which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And,
They're
and the
wonderful
sweet spaghetti.
Sweet spaghetti, that's right. And they have other wonderful menu items for you to try.
Do they have kare kare?
I don't know.
Check on the menu as well. 7:22 in the morning. Let's take a look at one more thing before we get to Jerry Roberts here. West Texas crude trading at $73.80. I don't like it up that high. Last Friday or so it was 73 and at 12 cents. Tapas last time I looked was at $78.91. Today $78.31 off. But still, we like to see Tapas down in the low 70s, not the high 70s. That's what's happening in the markets, and you're hearing all about it right here on The Point. 7:23. What do we got to do today? Oh, Jerry Roberts and the Extra Point.
Imagine that you've just been invited to a client lunch by your boss. It's a great opportunity, but are there any potential pitfalls? I'm Jerry Roberts, and we need to walk the buffet line of possibilities. Next, on the Extra Point. In Guam, we love our food. It's nearly a sport with all the village fiestas, barbecues, and buffets everywhere. Besides the strictly social applications, food is also important for business. There's nothing quite like breaking bread with somebody to help develop a relationship that brings benefits to both sides. But can things happen to cause distractions? Some folks may have never been trained that how we eat at home may not fly with how we eat in a restaurant, in front of our boss and the client. Nor do they understand that their eating habits reflect upon the boss. Chew on that for a second or two. You may be thinking that I'm speaking to the young and inexperienced folks here, that if you've got a few years under your belt, that you're immune to making an occasional boo-boo during a business meal. Well, let's see. Would you say that our dining style might be more casual at home than in a public setting? At home, we might reach halfway to Manila to grab the rice or bread or another chicken leg. We'll reach across people, under people, over them. It's all good. We're home. And there may be few, if any, rules for that sort of thing. Have you ever seen someone do that at a business lunch? I have. Have you heard someone loudly slurp their soup? Or have you seen someone talk with their mouth full of food, spraying morsels left and right that others might have to dodge? I have. Some people order messy meals. Come on, think about that. There's messy food out there. If we don't handle spaghetti well at home, why would we want to order it for a business meal? If you suspect that a fair chunk of that lunch is going to wind up in your lap, order something else. Okay, reaching, slurping, spraying food, messy stuff aside, here's where it gets a bit deeper. Are you likely to douse your food with ketchup or Tabasco before you even try it? Well, what's wrong with that, you might say? Well, some people believe it speaks to how you make decisions, that you jump to conclusions before weighing the evidence. Or do you hold up everybody's order because you just can't decide what you want? Hey, if you can't figure out lunch, how are you going to handle my account if we have problems? Not sure what habits you might have that could make your next business meal memorable for all the wrong reasons? Ask good friends to tell you the truth. If there are some things you should be aware of, you may be amazed at what they say. Very few people dine as smoothly and elegantly as they think they do. Bon appetit. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 and the Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Close your mouth when you chew. And the most important piece of advice I can give you, especially if you are going to be dining with a local businessman, if it's a common meal, if it's, what was they call that? Honey walnut shrimp, right? It's got a plate of honey walnut shrimp in front of you, and you've had some, and he's had some, and you've had some, and and there's one left. Leave it there. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. As far as you're concerned, the meal is over. And the other guy might not take it either. It's just, but the idea is we always leave something on the plate. Nobody is to wipe out everything on the plate until we've talked about it. Until somebody makes the noise, "Hey, Mike, you gonna eat that?" And Mike says, "No, you eat it." And then you go, "No, you eat it." It's got to go back and forth like 3 or 4 times. You got to negotiate over that, right? That's how relationships are made. And if I haven't already said it, for God's sake, close your mouth when you chew. It's 7:27 in the morning. That's the Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Headlines on the way.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
I'm looking at traffic. Do you want to look at it with me? Okay, so I told you earlier I was looking at a strange slowdown in front of Onward. That hasn't dissipated. I'm not saying the traffic is backed up like you wouldn't believe, but it does look like there's a little bit of a slowdown. You might see traffic slowing between, say, Government House and Navy Hospital. Is it moving in that direction? Yeah, Government House and Navy Hospital is where you're seeing a little bit of congestion. I got a long line of slowdown between, it looks like KFC now and the front gate of Anderson Air Force Base. Watch out for a little bit more traffic moving through there. Is everybody trying to get to work at the same time? Gee, whose idea was that? Coming in on Route 4, right as you're making your way right up around Panda Express at the Agana Shopping Center, down that Taco Bell corridor across from the Superior Court of Guam, you might see some traffic slowing down. I think it's just a line of traffic trying to get to make that left-hand turn. And in front of the Old Wise L through Camp Watkins, that area there, expect a little bit of a delay as you're making your way from on Camp Watkins Road down to Marine Corps Drive. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card. And upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
I got 7:30 in the morning, plenty of headlines to talk about and plenty of stories that we get to chase down. I was taking a look at B.J. Cruz's Dear Colleagues letters. Dear colleagues, I wrote you June 25th to personally explain the obstacles we face in the fiscal year 2019 budget process. And you all ignored me, and you voted to repeal the tax increase anyway. Wait. No, it's not time for that. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I wasn't going to get all emotional on him. I think we'll all get emotional. Why? I know that they need to have public. I'm trying to bug a guy. Carlo is. Let me just twist his arm right here on the radio. Carlo, I don't want to wait until after 9 o'clock this morning to find out what BJ's revenue enhancements are. I get that they're going to have a public hearing, and I want to begin the public hearing right here now in the court of public opinion on the radio. So let me know what some of these revenue enhancements are. So that we can begin talking about them in public and everything. I know a little bit of gotta have a little bit of drama. What revenue enhancements could there be? Will they be revenue enhancements that we'll all like and enjoy and learn because they involve somebody else? More speeding tickets getting written. There's a revenue enhancement. Let's go bust somebody for not having their registration up to date and not having insurance in the car. There's a revenue enhancement I can get behind.
Really, only 2 ways to enhance revenue.
Yeah, and then
raise taxes or cut expenditure.
Yeah, well, I've already got a couple of ideas. BJ's already put some ideas together on how they can cut, and that's only going to go a certain ways to being able to meet the deficit that we're going to be walking into for 2019. The rest of it is revenue enhancements. You're absolutely right. But what are the nature of those revenue enhancements? Are we going to have a return to that conversation about wholesale taxes? Maybe a whole nother kind of tax regime. Want to do that? Value added? Maybe? Let's play around with this. 888-8255. But first, headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: a federal case against a former ramp agent at the Guam International Airport has been unsealed in Guam District Court, detailing a scheme to steal mail that was intended for the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. 39-year-old Glenn Doria Perez pleaded guilty to mail theft. The case had been sealed since it was filed last November. In April of last year, Perez was interviewed by U.S. Postal Inspection Service agents about thefts at the Micronesian Air Cargo Facility. He'd been working as a ramp agent since February 2016 and was responsible for loading cargo onto the flights which transported mail from Guam to the CNMI. According to the plea agreement, Perez admitted to stealing about $3,000 worth of items, including a laptop, 2 cell phones, 4 watches, among other items. He said he gave most of the items to a friend to sell, and he made about $1,500. Perez faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. Sentencing is scheduled for October 4th. Government Accountability Office has not been able to locate about a quarter of the shipping records needed to determine the ports through which Agent Orange was shipped to Guam and elsewhere. GAO Management Team Director Brian Lepore sent a letter to Guam EPA explaining that his department's still trying to locate the remaining records, and they expect now to issue their final report by the early fall. The report has already been delayed once. It was initially expected to be released in May, but was postponed until July. The GAO conducted additional focus groups with Vietnam War veterans on Guam and in the mainland. In response to this second delay, Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi wrote back to the GAO's Lepore expressing her concern that all the shipping records can't be found. She also emphasized the need to test for Agent Orange both on and off base. So far, testing has been limited to Andersen Air Force Base only. Another $2 million in tax refunds in the mail today. 2 checks, the checks that is, were printed on Friday for about 1,026 taxpayers who filed error-free returns on February 8th through part of February 9th. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 7:34, and that's iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk and mobile plans.
More than 40 local companies have partnered with Take Care to bring you some of the best deals across the island through the Take Care Affinity Rewards program. From Spa Bali, Guam Reef and Gabriel's Restaurant to Tango Theaters, Dolce Frutti, and many more. Take Care members can simply present their membership cards at our partner locations to receive a special offer or discount. For a complete listing of Take Care's affinity partners and deals, visit TakeCareAsia.com or check out our Take Care app for all the latest updates.
7:35, portions of the program brought to you by my friend Charlie and his friends and team over at American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
What happened here? Is there still traffic? Getting word that maybe not as much of a slowdown in front of Onward. In fact, I'm looking at the map right now, and that looks like it has dissipated to a great degree. Now, I did see something that looked like a lot of extra traffic on Route 8, just as you got past the Tidsen area and Cars Plus moving into Mighty and then down into Agana. Expect a few more cars than normal around this time. It looks busy out there, but it doesn't look like it is moving slow in too many places. That's right now, traffic playing at 7:36 here on The Point.
Connecticut water treatment customers don't keep coming back. They're satisfied the first time. That's right. Connecticut non-electric water treatment systems take care of your water problems, and you won't need to keep calling us for repairs. Join the list of satisfied Connecticut customers who purchased their non-electric water systems years ago and are still enjoying clean, conditioned water without any hassles from timers or circuit boards.
American WaterTech. Smarter water, better water. Call American WaterTech at 649-2301 or email them at info@americanwatertech.com. Let's play. Let's party. Let's talk about some fun stuff here. To what degree is the economy of Guam going to be funded? And not so much the economy of Guam. How about this one? The economy of the government of Guam. Well, that's where all of the conversation seems to be going these days. The fiscal year 2019 budget. Anybody that's not talking about Jollibee is talking about this. What are we going to do? The government of Guam is facing a potential budget shortfall of $145 million. We would need, according to BJ, $145 million in additional revenue in order to make things go in the FY 2019 budget. The Committee on Appropriations has embarked on a different approach for the budget process called zero-based budgeting. Yada, yada. Where's the rest of this? Credibility problem. Well, like this. Wait a second. Hold on. Let me back up. He talks about needs in his Dear Colleague letter. BJ writes to his colleagues, while this fact cannot be disputed by anybody who earnestly does the math, the real dilemma comes in determining our path forward and working to pass the FY 2019 budget in an honest, transparent, and responsible way. That is why I'm writing to you now. There's a credibility problem that he recognizes it. I get it. It's hard to justify raising taxes when so many of the officials we speak to are liable for financial screw-ups so atrocious they should forever hang their head in shame. I'll bet that went over big over at Dataloop. Tobacco taxes uncollected. Real properties untaxed. Hiring sprees, alleged sweetheart deals, raided funds, travel stories all send the wrong message. A message that says no real problem exists because it's business as usual. Hey, you heard about that here. We were among the first to begin the railing. Wait a second. Hold on, you can't tell me that there's problems with the budget in the government of Guam and that there is a fiscal crisis if we've got $6 million worth of hiring at Dataloop and we got $65,000 special assistants roaming the halls of Dataloop looking for a nose to pick. It just cannot be. So there is a credibility issue that BJ responds to here. He says, I've tried to fight. This is where we put the music. If you have it. I've tried to fight the wrongs of government my entire legislative career. They anger and frustrate me just as much, if not more, than any of you. But I can't reasonably expect an administration to repair in less than 3 months what they could not fix in more than 7 years. Is there more to that? And yet the real problems persist. I must still write a budget. While I know that some in our government have not always proven worthy of your trust, I think you know that I've tried to be as honest with you as possible. Okay, I got it. The anger and frustration. This is the line here. And I don't know, Beach. This is the part that I'm looking at, and it kind of doesn't ring in my head. I have tried to fight the wrongs of government my entire legislative career. They anger and frustrate me just as much, if not more, than any of you. So but wait a second. You've been in the government for 45 years. Oh, it's one of those. I don't know, guys. And I've said this 1,000 times. It doesn't matter who I vote for. We run into an election here. It doesn't seem to matter who I vote for governor. It doesn't seem to I vote for OPA or Congress or anybody over at the legislature. What always gets to me is the government still gets in. Somehow, some way or another, the governor still gets in. You got directors, deputy directors. You get people making really useless decisions. And then you've got the other part where you got boards and committees that look the other way every time there's a law that needs some kind of enforcement. There seems to be some expediency at a middle management level that makes it so that all of the rest of us taxpayers have got to foot the bill for the inefficiencies and these questionable decisions. We got to figure out a way to change the government, change the whole thing. Yes, and that's why I'm a fan of the concept of reorganization. So I've been bugging, like I said, I've been bugging my friend Carlo Branch to get me some ideas on where it is that the revenue enhancement ideas are already going to go. And Carlo says, well, we introduced and heard measures on real property taxes. I'm going to have to dig those out because I can't honestly remember what they were. Sin taxes. Man. Dude, the price of beer's already gone up. What's up with that? Price of a bottle of wine's gone up. You know, I was in a bar the other night. I was buying shots of tequila. It was like $90. I'm just kidding. Anybody who knows me knows I don't drink tequila.
That's what happens when you buy it for the whole bar.
Oh, I see. I'm just saying. There's we always. It's always the idea that we're going to raise this and it's going to go here. We're gonna raise this tax and it's gonna go here. But Mike Sinicholas, in a very good article of editorial over the weekend, points out the flaw in the thinking here is that we're gonna set up some more special funds that the board chairman or whatever is going to ignore, the people over at the Department of Administration are going to ignore and swipe money from. It's $500,000, better than $500,000 from the Chamorro Land Trust Commission. So I'm just saying. 7:43 in the morning. And got Dr. Tom Shea on the line. Good morning, Doc. How you doing? Wait. I pressed the wrong button. Hey, Doc. How you doing?
Good morning, Ray. I'm over at GMA's rounding.
You're rounding?
Rounding, yeah, every morning.
So we caught you actually at work today because normally an early phone call catches you either making your rounds of the beach or on a treadmill somewhere.
Oh, yeah, done. I start at clinic 7:45 today.
How is the grandbaby thing coming along before I go anywhere else?
Good. I'm so excited, I'm so excited, Ray. But she's not due till later on this fall, so I'm already excited. I wish she was here, so I'll be doing ultrasounds every week.
Have we gender revealed yet? Did you see the hamburger or the hot dog?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have a grandson.
Hey!
Yeah, exciting.
Hey! Congratulations.
I only have girls.
I was going to say there's no boys in the Shea family. Yeah, so I don't know how that's going.
So I have to base it on myself, I guess.
With so comic books and sleeping in on Saturday and we gotta start them early on all of our favorite Ray Gibson and Tom Shea stuff, right? It's a Wonderful Life. We got to start from embryo. Have your daughter start playing It's a Wonderful Life through some kind of endoscopic whatever, right? So the baby can start hearing it.
That's right. I can pass on all my toys now to him.
Yes. Oh, how about a love for fast cars?
My daughter said, no, Dad, no, cannot. He'll kill himself. Nope, cannot.
Yeah, that's what she says now. That's a couple of weekends. First time she needs a couple of weekends, which is her and hubby and the baby's at grandma's house. Then don't worry about it. I think all of those rules are going to fly out the window. Anyway, 7:45. The reason why I'm curious, and you would know the answer. We had a storm last week. It was 4th of July, and I'm sure there were a lot of babies that were conceived around that whole 4th of July storm weekend. But did anybody deliver any babies?
I delivered a baby after the storm, the day after, and it wasn't that bad of a storm. I thought, it was about 4 in the morning, 4 or 5 were probably the worst.
Yeah.
Winds maybe 60, 70. I had a lot of calls in the middle of the night. Say, hey, Doc, should we go to the hospital? And I always tell my patient, no. I mean, I've been here for 22 years, Ray. You and I have been through a lot of storms.
Yeah.
Pangsangwa, we've been through worse storm than what we had. So I was used to it, and I knew that they didn't have to go in. I think those storms like that is okay. And I watch those storms as they come because I always get busy with calls and stuff. And if they are coming into the hospital, I always come and visit my patients here anyway. So that's why they have my phone number. They call me, they ask me, and I always tell them, it looks okay. I think you should just stay home. And you know, I told him to hydrate, and everything went okay.
Yeah, less stress in trying to move things around, less, especially in that last trimester. It's a lot of stress for the mother and the baby, so best if you can, then stay home. And I remember, I think it was you that I asked, I mean, is there something magical that happens where there's a pressure displacement or something like that that all of a sudden will cause a mother to go into contractions and begin the process of labor? And I think you said, no, not really. It's just if she's going to have a baby, you should probably do it at the hospital. You should probably already be close to the hospital, if not in the hospital.
Yeah, if anything, I think it's probably the amount of anxiety and maybe, you know, without power, without aircon, the heat gets turned up there, and then the mom gets sweaty, and then all of a sudden the muscle starts to contract.
Yeah.
So I would say stay hydrated and keep a bucket of ice with a fan on, and just stay cool.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest thing is that, you know, when you have a typhoon or anything, you run out of power. That's why I always think GPA, you know, the Public Works, they got up early, they cleared out the lines and the fallen trees. So you got to give those guys some credit because I saw them working hard out there. So I know there's always going to be complaints, but, you know, I'm sure that they're working and doing the best they can, you know.
The baby you delivered, was it a boy or a girl?
I don't remember. You got to ask me that question?
Well, normally there's. I just wanted to find. Here's the thing.
I think we're boys. You're the boys. We have a lot of boys this year.
Oh, is that what's happening? Because I'm kind of curious as to whether or not we got any new baby Marias as a result of the storm.
I think we did. I have to go back and look at my Facebook post in my baby album. If you look at my baby album, you'll see it. If I get the taste out there. That's how I archive it because, you know, eventually we're going to have a book that's published with all these babies in there. So I didn't know how to archive it, so that's the only way I could do it. So hopefully when we turn 25 years for our 25th anniversary, I'll publish a book with all the babies I delivered.
Oh,
so that'll be kind of fun.
Oh, and now and then, just here's what it looked like when they were born, and here's where they are now. Hey, have you heard anything new about the Tom Shea Memorial Baby Delivery Wing at GMH? Have they found the money for that yet?
Oh, it's so frustrating, Ray. I'm telling you, this is such a good project. Labor and Delivery is the heart of GMH. You notice that when the CMS came by, Joint Commission came by, we helped this place up manually. Our staff here is so good. But we need a facility here, that upgraded facility. And I've been talking to Speaker Cruz. You can ask Benjamin Cruz, okay? I emailed him several times. He never responded. I emailed Dennis Rodriguez several times. He never responded. I emailed Governor Calvo several times. They never responded. But they all promised to get this updated. I'm getting so frustrated. What do I have to do, Ray?
Well,
I run for governor?
Well, I did run for something anymore. I've counseled you against that, but it just seems to me that that we could use maybe another MD at the legislature to see after some of the needs of our public health system. Because I tell you what, there are people that are legitimately very frightened after what we are hearing from the Joint Commission and then the CMS.
Yeah. Well, you know, I come through the hospital day in and day out, and I walk in and I hear all these stories about, you know, people going to die here and stuff. I don't know. When I walked in here, it looks good. I mean, for me, it looks okay. You know, it needs updating, and they're complaining about water leaking through the center hall here. And let me tell you, the renovation for Labor and Delivery includes enclosing this entire central hallway here, and that will get rid of all the leaks in this coming through the hallways. The legislature knows that. The blueprint shows the governor that. Are they listening? You know, when we talk about whistleblower, I'm the biggest whistleblower over the last 20 years about GMH. You know, what else do we have to do?
Well, and I'm annoyed because the GMH has got a great reputation for delivering babies, and it seems to me that that's one of the places where we're actually making some money at GMH. Everybody comes in, you know, we get the insurance companies more than happy to pay the bills, the majority of the bills for delivering babies.
Absolutely, and we have healthy mothers. Some of them are very sick. But we have healthy mothers, healthy babies. The turnaround time for them coming in and going out is 24 to 48 hours. So this is where the revenue generating source with Guam Memorial Hospital is. They need to maintain, this is the heartbeat of the hospital. And Benita knows that. I tell Benita all the time, put this on the priority list for Speaker Cruz. He's asking for priority list for CMS. But what do you want us to do? Do you want us to complain to CMS to get this on the priorities? We will if we need to do that, but I don't think we want to do that. We're holding this place up manually. And, you know, when you ask the question about Labor and Delivery, it gets me excited because I'm speaking on behalf of the thousands of moms that comes through here and their babies. And, you know, when you have a sinking Titanic, you always say, okay, women and children first. Well, women and children is not being placed first in a priority list for Governor Guam. And I think I encourage the governor, he has, 5 months left in his term. I encourage him to get this project off the ground. This is his legacy. for 4 years.
Well, just can't find the confidence in the lenders. I guess there still seems to be some disagreement on the language of the deal.
Ray, forget the lenders. They have money in Gulf Guam to put it here. Forget the lenders. Why do we have to go through a lender? They can find the money and fund it.
But the fiscal crisis, Tom.
The fiscal crisis, and you got to stop hiring and stop wasting. That's what I stop having parties.
There you go.
Stop having parties.
That's what we've been talking about here, and that's the credibility issue that BJ is talking about. It's hard to justify raising taxes.
Tell BJ to put the money where his mouth is and put it at Guam Memorial Hospital and renovate the labor and delivery. He can do it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I think if there's one thing that we need to do, it's to stand the labor and delivery up because it's a great place to make some money at Guam Memorial Hospital and take care of some of the other issues that they've got there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is for the future generations. And I'm still here, Ray. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. Guam is my home now, and they're going to hear this whistleblower keep blowing this whistle until someday they get it done.
Well, you'll always have a place to blow the whistle. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Doc. And congratulations on the gender reveal. They're expecting the hot dog baby at the Shea House.
Thanks, Ray.
All right, buddy. I'll see you pretty soon. 888-8255, 888-8255, or TALK. That's one of the great ways to get a hold of me here on the program. So what are they talking about? As you might have heard in the headlines, it's in the newscast, and if you haven't, I'll go ahead and fill you in on some of the things that they're going to be doing by way of mandatory spending cuts and controls. A hiring freeze will be in effect for all agencies with limited exceptions for vacated positions due to retirement, termination, or resignation. Now, I'm just spitballing here based on what I'm seeing, and I would like to ask the question when it comes up, these vacated positions due to retirement, termination, or resignation. Are these vital positions? Are these positions that need to be refilled immediately because they are vital? When Chris Barnett was asking the question at the governor's office about these the hirings that they had brought in, $6 million worth, and this was back in March, April, May-ish, right? It was about there that he did that story, and they had hiring going all the way back to the beginning of the fiscal year. And the answer from the governor's office, well, these are people retired or they quit their jobs, and so we needed to replace them.
Special assistants.
Special assistants, my eyeballs. I'm telling you. What are they doing that is so vital there that they need to be replaced? I think there needs to be not just a hiring freeze with limited exceptions, but I think there needs to be the exception committee. I think there needs to be a bunch of people that if you say, yes, Michael Knight left his job and we're going to be bringing in Joe. And Joe's going to do what Michael was doing. And so I will want to ask the question, well, since Mike left, has anybody missed him? Has anybody said, hey, man, the job of government is not getting done because Michael's not here to do it. We better bring Joe in right away.
You would never hear that.
Think about it, really. If just over at Adelup, and I know it's easy to pick on Adelup, so I'm going to do it. But if they lost half of their special assistants tomorrow, would the government shut down? Would there be a slowdown in anything? Would there be any indication whatsoever that they were going to, who is it, another doc, Vince Akimoto used to love this, making this analogy, right, where everybody else on Guam is working. It's one of those Gov Guam only holidays where everybody else is at the job except people in the government of Guam. And does the Guam Memorial Hospital shut down? Do all of a sudden we're not doing surgeries anymore, and we haven't run the MRI machine or the X-ray, or we're not doing drug dispensing, and there's no food in the cafeteria? No, that never happens. No. That never happens. So is it possible that some of these people that are taking the day off on these Gov Guam only holidays at places like Guam Memorial Hospital, is it possible that their jobs are not vital to the operation? So that's where I'd like to go. Yes on hiring freeze. Limited exceptions after approval by the Ray Gibson Exemption Committee. I will want people to validate for me why this position needs to be filled. And you're going to come back to me and says, it's the governor's cousin. It's the speaker's nephew. No! The Guam Legislature, the Office of Finance and Budget, and the Office of Governor will receive no less than a 10% reduction in their FY 2018 original appropriation level, so everybody's going to have to live with less, and some people say that may already be happening. The salary increments will be suspended and not funded. Probably should have done that years ago. No appropriated funds will be used to hire a deputy director for any agency funded in the FY 2019 Budget Act. You know what? Why? That's kind of arbitrary and not permanent, if you ask me. Maybe the smart move would be in the right of the budget, we'll just repeal all authorizations for deputy directors. So if you are the director of a department or agency, there's no such thing as a deputy. And you're going to say, well, Ray, don't you have a deputy director that's working in the government in your family that's a deputy director? Yeah, but I don't know if that's going to last past the beginning of the new fiscal year. I don't know if that's going to last past the beginning of a new administration. Who knows what's going to be happening? But is it possible that most departments and agencies on Guam can get by with just a director? No appropriated funds will be used for the. You know why they have a lot of deputy directors? I'll just so this is the deal. And
because that's what keeps Guam's economy afloat.
No, because they're the ones that know how things work. Normally your director is either a current or former nose picker of the administration. Right. So you go, okay, we got it. Here's the reward for this guy. We're going to make him the director of something. So we'll go ahead and put that guy, and he'll go, but I don't know anything about how that department or agency runs. That's all right. Don't worry about it. There's a deputy director. They'll figure it out. You've got a deputy. The deputy director's been there for 11 years. They know what's going on. They know how it works. They know where the bodies are hidden. It's going to be okay. You just go in there and the worst thing that you're going to have to do as a director in the government of Guam is show up at the legislature for an oversight hearing. Mm-hmm. That's it. I mean, how bad can it get? You take your lumps. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. I'm sorry, I didn't have that information for you. I tried to get back to you, and that's as tough as it's going to get. And for that, you get 6 figures. Salary increments will be suspended. No appropriated funds will be used for the cost of mobile phones and data, except when such services are required by emergency, health, or law enforcement personnel. Identify them in the legislation. No appropriated funds will be used for off-island travel or per diem unless travel is required to administer federal grants necessary to law enforcement and the judicial process, for medical personnel providing escort services to patients, for needs under the Residential Treatment Fund or the promotion of tourism. This restriction shall be expanded to include the Guam Legislature and the Office of the Governor. And do you have any other ideas on how they can save some money in the government of Guam? You know, there's ample number of places on Facebook where you can find some of that stuff. I mean, right here on the Facebook Live, in the chat on the Ray Gibson Show. There's a bunch of ideas that are. Can I do one? Executive security. Executive security in the government of Guam. How much of that do we really need? Does governor need it? Does the lieutenant governor need it? You know, Eddie hasn't been in a scrap since junior year in high school. But I'll bet you if he got into one right now, he could win. And have you seen the guns on Ray Tenoro? It's big. They're big. You know, who's gonna cross him? All right. Well, play around with it. It's overtime, and maybe we need to get into the habit of zero overtime. I wonder how much of the dollars are spent in there. The radio station that you're listening to. What did you look at the time? I don't even have time to say it. We're KSU, KUSG. I got you. This is The Point Monday.
Who will it be?
I'm getting very close to making a final decision.
I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. It's down to 4 finalists.
Probably be decided tonight or tomorrow sometime by 12 o'clock.
President Trump ahead of tomorrow night's big announcement when he will reveal his choice for the Supreme Court.
With John McCain's absence, they need every GOP senator to get the president's nominee through. Democratic leaders, meanwhile, are hoping that vulnerable Democrats in red states who are up for re-election hold strong with the party and vote against the president's nominee. You'll remember last year, 3 Democrats voted to confirm Neil Gorsuch, and all 3 are up for re-election in states the president won. So Republicans are hoping they can get at least a couple of those votes again.
Fox's Garrett Tenney in Washington. A mysterious poisoning case in Britain is now a murder case. A woman poisoned with a nerve agent last month has died.
She came here to hospital on Saturday, June the 30th. She was being treated here alongside Charlie Rowley, her partner, 45-year-old, who was brought later that day. Now, he remains in a critical condition here in hospital.
Sky News correspondent Emma Birchley in Salisbury. Authorities confirming the nerve agent is the same one used to poison a former Russian spy and his daughter in March. The British government blaming Russia for the first attack. Moscow strongly denies the charge. 8 young soccer players and their coach remain trapped in a cave in Thailand. 4 players rescued earlier, but weather is threatening the operation.
It has been pouring on and off for the last several hours here in Mae Sai, Thailand, which is a big concern. Forecasters here from local Thai TV saying that it'll likely rain for the next 2 to 3 days. The local governor for the area where we are says that they are waging a war with water.
Fox's Jeff Paul. The team went hiking in the caves after a practice and remained trapped for more than 2 weeks. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway. Make it what you want.
Morico Equipment on EPOW Road is expanding. Morico now requires a dynamic individual with proven sales skills to join their heavy equipment parts sales team to do outside parts sales to new and existing customer accounts. A commission package, Morico vehicle, phone, and laptop are on offer. While sales experience is preferred, applicants must be highly self-motivated with excellent communication and time management skills and able to use Microsoft Word and Excel. Apply on MoricoEquipment.com. Morico Equipment LLC is now an employee-owned company.
Tropical storm Beryl disintegrating as the system moves through the eastern Caribbean.
By 6 to 8 p.m. Monday, Beryl is going to weaken even further to a tropical depression as it blows through the U.S. Virgin Islands and the southwestern tip of Puerto Rico. That happening tomorrow night.
Fox's Phil Keating in San Juan. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Chris off the U.S. East Coast. That one packing sustained winds of 50 miles per hour. It's expected to reach hurricane strength tomorrow. Another person tied to the Trump administration confronted in public. A Virginia bookstore owner calling police Saturday after he says a customer harassed former White House strategist Steve Bannon. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders and former EPA Chief Scott Pruitt also among those getting an angry earful from critics recently. Billions at stake in payments to insurers with sicker customers.
The Trump administration says it's freezing payments under an Obamacare program that protects insurers with sicker patients from financial losses, a move expected to add to premium increases next year. Officials say the administration is acting because of conflicting rulings in lawsuits filed by some smaller insurers. The program redistributes payment money from insurers with healthier customers to those with sicker enrollees to prevent insurers from cherry-picking healthier customers. The same strategy is used by Medicare private plans. Some insurers argue it interferes with a program that works. Ann Carrick, Fox News.
A wildfire on California-Oregon border growing to 48 square miles. The Klamathon fire is now 25% contained, at least one person killed and dozens of buildings destroyed. A Massachusetts beauty queen gives back her crown after a pageant MC made a joke about the hashtag #MeToo movement. Maud Gorman is a survivor of sexual assault and says mocking a movement that empowers women is inappropriate, especially by a women's empowerment organization. The Miss America organization apologizing on its Facebook page. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News Radio.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy to spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy-efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card, and upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. It's summer, and KFC has something extra special to spice it up with KFC's new Sriracha Extra Tasty Crispy Chicken. Yup, we kicked up our Pika Chicken a notch with Sriracha.
Woo! Sriracha!
It's spicy, tangy, and sweet. You've never had Sriracha like this before, so spice up your summer with KFC's new Sriracha Crispy Chicken. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A freeze on hiring, pay raises, and off-island trips will be part of the 2019 budget that Speaker Benjamin Cruz will bring to the floor in the coming weeks. In a Dear Colleague letter yesterday to his fellow senators, the Speaker wrote that $145 million in additional revenue is needed to reach the same appropriation level that was approved for this fiscal year. He offered his colleagues a stark choice between cutting millions more in next year's budget or raising additional revenue. A $145 million cut in spending will demand an awful price from every single member of the community, wrote the Speaker. The alternative, he states, is to achieve meaningful reductions to appropriations, enact tough spending controls, and raise revenues responsibly. Speaker said it's hard to justify raising taxes when so many GovGuam officials are liable for what he called atrocious financial screw-ups. But no one can cut $145 million in a single fiscal year, he said, without crippling the economy and posing a direct danger to the island's health and safety. The recently concluded tax amnesty program could reap $30 million or more from delinquent taxpayers if they fulfill their commitment to pay the balance due by the August 6th deadline. That would be significantly more than earlier estimates of $20 to $25 million. During a legislative hearing last Thursday night, DOA Director Edward Burns said Revenue Tax Director John Camacho had recently said that the total was likely to be between $30 and $32 million raised from the tax amnesty. However, Camacho told the Guam Daily Post on Friday that he could only confirm that the goal of $25 million was met, but he said his revenue officers are still reconciling and double-checking the numbers, and he expects to release a final report on the results of the tax amnesty later this week. We'll have more news after this.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Morrico Equipment, located on Ipoh Road, Tamuning, is a heavy equipment dealership and was established on Guam in 1990. Morrico Equipment is now an employee-owned company. Morrico represents 23 heavy equipment manufacturers and supports those products on Guam with sales, rental, parts, and service. The Morrico Equipment rental fleet now comprises of 200 machines. Morrico also offers an on-site diesel delivery service and Trashco Guam, a roll-off trash container service. If you're interested in joining the Morrico ESOP ownership team, find out more on their website at morricoequipment.com.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Two 16-year-old female clients ran away from the Department of Youth Affairs cottage home on Friday afternoon and reportedly are still missing. DYA says they were last seen running towards the Manilao baseball field. An immediate search of the field was conducted, but the girls were not found, according to a release from DYA issued on Saturday. Both juveniles are status offenders. That means they've been charged with an offense not considered a crime, such as truancy and beyond control. One of the girls is of Chamorro descent, has a scar in her right thigh and pierced earlobe. She was last seen wearing a gray shirt and orange shirts. She is about 5'1" and 115 pounds. The other girl is of Chukis and Chamorro descent with cut marks on her left hand and last seen wearing a gray shirt and gray shorts. She's about 4'10" and 120 pounds. Both have brown eyes and black hair, according to DYA. The Guam National Wildlife Refuge at Ratidian is closed through today while a damage assessment continues at nearby Andersen Air Force Base. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says Tropical Storm Maria last Thursday downed numerous trees in the refuge, which need to be cleared up. Meanwhile, Pacific Air Forces has confirmed an unspecified number of aircraft at Andersen, including a KC-135 tanker used for midair refueling, were damaged by a Tropical Storm Maria when it passed over Guam early Thursday morning. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with a look at the weather.
Thank you, Kevin. Partly cloudy skies today with isolated showers. Winds running from the east up to about 15 miles an hour, decreasing after sunset. Daytime highs today about 88 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:52. Sunrise tomorrow morning at the crack of 6 o'clock. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Salisbury steak, named after a guy, not a place. Imagine that. You learn something new every day when you listen to The Point in the morning show here. Anyway, so go and find a tribute to the namesake, a doctor that was trying to put together something that was, low carbohydrates and high in protein and lots of flavor. That's the way they do it up for you. It's a hamburger that's made into the shape of a steak, and then they cover it with gravy, and then we can serve that up with some vegetables, maybe some mashed potatoes. Maybe there's some other things that you can find in it. But you won't find it unless you go to King's for lunch today. Portions of the program also brought to you by my friends over at Security Title. Did you just buy a piece of property? Well, you know, if the transaction went through Security Title, that means that they know everything about the property going back to Adam and Eve. All right, well, maybe not that far back, but they got a string on this thing that goes back there, so you know that you are the new legitimate owner of that property.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Chili's Rib Fest is back. You can get saucy with their fall-off-the-bone, slow-smoked half-rack of ribs for $10.99. Available in original, roasted garlic, or honey chipotle flavors. Served with home-style fries. Add an additional half-rack of ribs for just $7. Low and slow is the key to more flavor. Chili's Rib Fest for $10.99. Available for a limited time. Chili's. More life happens here.
Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
And the most important question that we're going to try to answer this morning has nothing to do with how the government of Guam is going to live with minus $145 million in the next budget. It has nothing to do with what about the brown tree snakes, rhinoceros beetles with blood that acid is made with. Their blood is made of acid and they've got lasers on their foreheads. The most important question that we're going to try to answer today is, can we now start putting up our Halloween decorations?
Can we?
Well, it's 4th of July. It's over.
I'm always for putting up Halloween
you took yours
decorations.
down?
That's kind of actually I don't. I really didn't. Most of them, yes, but I have a fake tree in my house and I don't have a lot of lamps, and so I think it was 2 years ago I wrapped it because my Christmas lights that I had it wrapped in went out because I didn't take those down. So then I wrapped it with Halloween lights because that was the time of year that they went out. So now it's lit up with purple and orange lights still.
Yeah, I just ring my cardboard pumpkins with Christmas lights. It works perfectly.
So it's in my head. I was doing my constitutional last night over at Radio Barragata. And there were a bunch of people walking, a couple of people that were walking, and one of them was a girl who was wearing, and I'm sure that it was just one of those things she grabbed, put it on without thinking about it, but her T-shirt was a pumpkin.
Okay.
Right?
Like the orange?
Like a jack-o'-lantern,
okay,
yeah. So it's a jack-o'-lantern, and I thought, well, it's kind of early for this. Or is it?
Or is it? If it was Christmas, you know, like if Christmas fell at the same time Halloween did, and I think after Liberation, people would start putting up, like if Christmas wasn't in October.
It does in the Philippines.
I think after Liberation Day, people would start putting it up. I don't think that that's too early for Christmas.
All right, so I guess that's the question we're going to try to answer. The answer to the question is nobody knows. You know who knows? The people at Home Depot.
Or the Shadow.
No, the people.
Oh, that's right. They always
at Home
dictate
Depot.
that.
Yeah. They're the ones that you can count on to be on time with the decoration. So if you go by Home Depot today, and they've already started teasing the Kmart too, right? They've got that whole this section over there.
Although I don't think that I think what they'll do, they usually use the same back to school area as the Halloween area. So I think as soon as they roll out back to school supplies, which is about first week of August, then they'll start rolling in their Halloween stuff because I think that they stage it in the same aisles.
Yes, I think you're right.
So I think maybe that's the indicator. Maybe right after school supplies are done being bought, then Halloween can roll out, which is about a month from now, first week of August, somewhere around there.
You're familiar with the concept called a calendar, aren't you, son?
Yeah.
Just
Right?
checking.
Yeah.
Just checking. 18:17 in the morning, and that means it's time for Sports with Blaine. Go. So what you got?
I got this. I wanted to make sure to pass this on to you before we get into our local stuff because I don't have much national stuff, but this is interesting to me. Boston area marathon runners and Patriots fans are about to have their biggest dream come true as first time ever, Gillette Stadium is hosting its first marathon. September 28th, the Boston Marathon qualifier is open to 100 runners. Participants will run
Only 100?
They will run more than 100 laps on the warning track around the actual field where the Patriots play.
I'm going to vomit now just thinking about it.
The track is a U.S. Track and Field certified, will be the first Boston Marathon qualifier every run and the first qualifier in an NFL stadium ever. All runners must meet a $5,000 fundraising goal, and the proceeds will benefit the New England Patriots Foundation. The race will begin at 5 p.m. because I guess they got the lights, so they can do it. They're going to start a marathon at 5 p.m.
But you got to run around a track?
Yep.
No.
And then live music and appearances by the Patriots alumni and cheerleaders.
I don't care. You just got to run around a track.
Yeah. And it seems that
I don't run around Paseo for exactly that reason.
You know, that's one thing that
it's like, hey, there's my car.
Yeah.
2 minutes later,
and that's
hey, there's my car.
That's one thing I couldn't get behind, even when running. When I did run, you know, is I couldn't do it on a treadmill, and like you, I couldn't run, the 4 laps around the track to make it the mile.
Yeah.
I had to go, if I'm going to run, I had to see something and maybe take a trail or a route, or something. Yeah.
Something's got to change. The view has got to change in front of me. So that's tricky. My friends and I, we get into these things where, okay, so for training, let's, we'll run Tumon. We'll do five laps in Tumon.
Is that down and back?
No. Why? We just go up to Kmart and then run till we get to Paseo or run till we get to the Harley store and then turn around and come back. And that way we get to see different things. We got different terrain that we can do. We got different, inclines and just, different features. For heaven's sake, we're running along the beach. It's nice there.
Yeah.
So why would you want to
restrict yourself.
Restrict yourself. No, I
Yeah,
can't.
but yeah. So there you go. I wanted to hear your thoughts at least on it. But yeah, the first marathon ever inside
"Hey,
an
there's my car."
NFL stadium. Yeah.
Hey,
but
there's
I'm
my
with
car
you.
again.
I would have to see
To be
something.
100 times with hey, there's my car.
Yeah.
Like,
And what did I
come
say?
on.
How much? 100 laps.
Last year, I don't know how many people know, but last year the family went on a cruise, right? It was one of these
Up north.
the Alaskan cruise,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And so I thought, am I going to be able to run while I'm here? And sure enough, they had a nice gym, right, with the treadmills that faced the bow of the ship. It was
So it
gorgeous.
felt like you were running with the
But I
boat.
was too lazy, right? So I thought, but I wanted to run outside if I possibly could, because I'm not a big treadmill fan guy, and so the answer was yes. They did have a little track,
Like around the deck?
yeah, around the deck. 19 times was a mile.
Wow.
So if I want to do a little 5K on the boat, then I got to go around 19 times. It said about 60 times around this thing, and the answer is no, not doing it. Now for treadmills, not that I have any great expertise at it, but when I travel, I generally, unless I know the city I'm traveling in, I'll generally restrict my running on a treadmill. Do 5K on the treadmill, do that as often as I possibly can, and try to maintain my cardio when I'm traveling that way. But if you're going to run on a treadmill, there are ways that you can make it more exciting, right? So you can change the incline, you can go up and down, or you can say I'm going to run for a mile at this speed. I'm going to run for a mile at this speed. I'm going to run for a mile, or you break it down half miles, and so that's the way I do that. So I'm constantly thinking about the next thing I'm going to be doing the next 2 minutes, so that the 25 minutes that I'm spending on the treadmill is not torture.
Yeah.
It's still torture to a degree, but it's
But it
not as bad.
changes. At least it's
at least
changing
I'm
torture.
changing my speed.
Some
I'm
of
changing
the
incline.
some of the high-end fitness places
Yes.
actually are doing what's called VR, virtual reality treadmill. So you get on there and you put your little face mask on, and then you can select where you want to run through.
Okay.
And then as you're running, it actually will automatically do like inclines and stuff for the
Sure.
terrain
Oh
and
yeah.
everything. It's very cool.
I have seen them in magazines, but I've never actually been on one of those treadmills that where you can do that. You don't need to wear the goggles.
Right.
You can just have a thing in front of you, and this is what the road looks like.
Right. Yeah.
And I think bicyclists have something along the same lines where they can put their exercise deal. I got to ask Dave Torrey about this.
With
they
the
put
VR
their little
thing.
exercise thing in front of the television, and then you plug in a course, and it will adjust your training system so that you've got to speed up, slow down, be prepared for an incline change of gears and all of that.
Right, yeah. The VR thing tries to make it a more immersive experience because you talk about, you hate being on a treadmill because, you're in a room, it's air conditioned, it's boring. You throw the VR goggles on and you can kind of, visualize.
You're
at
in
least
like a forest
realistically.
or on a canyon or something
somewhere.
like that.
So not
Very
to
cool.
not to put a very, very fine point on it, but if I'm going to be doing something with VR, it ain't going to be exercising. Don't be sweating involved, but it ain't going to be exercising. It's 8:23 in the morning, and is there baseball? There was Major League Baseball last night. I know because I was there.
Oh, you were? How was that? How was the scene? Was it very lively?
I don't know. I don't pay to go in, so I was sitting next to a Micronesian guy at the gate.
Okay. It was 6-1. For those of you who weren't there, the Expos win. The Expos win. They're 3-3. They will hang on to their fourth spot as of right now. Remember, the top four teams, make it to the postseason, and so they are still got a couple games to go, but they are sitting pretty as of now. They beat the Zonia Redhawks, who was in that slot before, but they overtook them again. 6-1 was the final. On the mound, R.J. Joe gets 5 strikeouts for the Expos. And it is enough. For the Redhawks, it was Shane Camacho. He was doing his duty at the plate, 2 for 4, but it wasn't enough as they only get 1 run out of that production. Next game will be tomorrow night. The Smokies 2-3 taking on the Rooks 1-5. So no doubt they will. The Smokies still could have a chance as long as they win out and everybody else.
So when are the Rays going to play the Orioles again in the loser leave town match?
That will probably be in the postseason. Which is let's see here, July.
I mean, they're the top 2 teams. I mean, just in terms of their standings, the Rays are still 7-0. They got a 7-win, just a win streak that's been with them all the way through the season. The Orioles have only lost 1.
Yes, and it's kind of been that way through the whole. They've been 1-2 through the whole season, pretty much. By the way, should pass this on as per the commissioner. The season may be on hold for a break between the 11th and the 22nd, and then pick up after that. I don't know if that's maybe because Liberation break or You know, because there's a lot of stuff going on down there. So maybe they need the Paseo area to stage or to set up a carnival or whatever they're doing down there.
Oh yeah. That's
so
what it is. Okay, now there's a couple of other stories that I wanted to, and they feel like local stories. One of them feels like national, international story because it is. And then there's another one with kind of a local bend on it. First, the national, international story: the saga of the soccer team stuck in the Thailand caves. Oh my God!
I was just watching that actually on my show over there, and I was reporting on it as I believe maybe right at 7:45 our time that they had 4 of them out, and they were still actively getting them out. So it went from 2 earlier this morning to 4 boys that have been confirmed rescued, and there's still, so I think there were 16 in total. So still maybe 12 down there.
I thought it was a dozen and a coach.
Yeah, maybe it's something like that.
Okay,
maybe,
so there are 6 of them out now, and unfortunately there was a death. I guess somebody got caught in one of those underground spaces where there was no oxygen. One of the rescuers and lost his life there.
Right, one of the divers, I think. Yeah.
Terrible story. And
did you see that there was a tech mogul, kind of I guess Thailand's version of Elon Musk? You know, and he got in touch with Elon Musk, and so Elon Musk puts whatever flamethrowers, whatever he's doing on hold, and he sent some people from SpaceX and some of his engineers over there.
What's the science here?
To
How do we help you guys out?
Yeah, and I think that was into last week, maybe Thursday or Friday is when he sent some people over there. So. You know, they were over there during the weekend helping out. And I know the Navy SEALs had gone over there. The U.S. Navy SEALs.
Spelunking at all. The concept is frightening to me. Is there'll be a hole in the ground somewhere and it's filled with water, and there are people that will put on their diving gear and go and dive and try to find the end of the thing. And I'm sorry. So I'm, as they say, I know many old divers. I know many bold divers, but I don't know too many old, bold divers. And it scares the Jesus out of me that I would get someplace. This is the kind of diving I will dive anywhere, as long as there is a direct line, an unbroken line between me and the surface. You put something over me, even another diver, I start to freak out a little bit because I want to be able to say, okay, going up for air.
Right.
And then be able to go up for air. I've penetrated the inside of a couple of wrecks here on Guam, and I got to tell you, it is the least, next to liver and onions, the least enjoyable thing I've ever done in my life. As soon as I got in, I want to get out.
See, to me, it's like what I could imagine skydiving is, because I've done the same, and my adrenaline is running so fast. I'm excited because I'm exploring, but I'm also scared out of my mind because I'm not enjoying it thoroughly.
No.
I mean, it's cool, but I'm also, more of my mind is thinking,
I'm gonna die.
It's fun, let's get out of here. It's fun, let's get out of here.
How do I not die? It's like climbing towers. I'm not certified to climb, and even if I was, I don't know that I would, because after a certain number of feet up, it's not so much the job that you're supposed to be doing when you're climbing. That's secondary. The primary thing is don't die. Make sure that every connection that you've got, make sure that you've got, there's 3 points, and don't fall and die is the job.
And that's where I go through the mind bangle, even when I go snorkeling. I'm deathly afraid of open heights. I can get up in a building, I can get in an airplane, no problem. Get me on a scaffold 5 feet off the ground, and I'm shaking like a leaf. So I go out there, and you get out there, you start snorkeling, and the ground is 20 feet below you. Your brain can't figure it out. So it's just, and I don't do any diving with pace.
Kevin, what's the last way you want to die? I mean, if you got a choice, there's a bunch for me. Drowning, I don't want to drown. I don't want to fall. And I don't want to die in a fire.
Burn.
Yeah.
For me, it would have to be plane crash because once you're up there, you know what's happening.
I got flight attendant friends. This is what they tell me: is if your flight is when the mask comes down, breathe it, because it's got like vaporized heroin or something in there that will make it so that you're not as anxious about dying as you normally would be. There's something
for real.
Huh?
That's good. Almost like laughing gas at the dentist.
They should do that.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling everybody. That's how I sleep on the plane.
That's a good idea.
When the
actually,
mask comes down, it will be what the dentist lady calls happy air.
Yep.
And you won't feel a thing. There won't be any anxiety. There won't be any fear. Breathe this. Oh, I'm in love with everybody. Is that the ground rushing up really fast? Is that the plane collapsing into something that's going to be the size of a Vienna sausage container? Yes, but one more breath, please.
And hopefully you're over the ground. Hopefully you're not in the ocean.
8:30 in the morning, and the one last other story, because there is a Guam connection on this. We were talking about it last week with that ship with an interesting name, ironically named now the Forever Lucky, which they had basically seized and stopped. It was about to set sail for Yap with 139 undocumented Filipino workers, masseuses, pig roasters, and tattoo artists, because we need that for the South Pacific Games.
That's what they're doing?
That's what
their skills were?
The authorities called the investigation human smuggling in nature because the workers didn't go through the required processing for overseas-bound workers. The problem was there's a lot of people that were going to sleep on this Forever Lucky cruise ship once it got down to Yap. That was supposed to be, and including for Guam athletes that were going down. Philippine Coast Guard has determined the ship wasn't seaworthy to carry that many passengers. Some of the workers were bound, interviewed, and said they were told they would eventually land jobs on Guam.
Eventually.
Where we don't have enough pig roasters and tattoo artists and masseuses, apparently.
Well,
and so I don't know. The cruise ship operator, Fahrenheit Company Limited, based in Subic Bay, Freeport, has a long relationship as a supplier of aggregate materials for construction projects in Yap and other places in the Federated States. Its website states that it also has a business license to do business on Guam, but an office location or contact number was not immediately available. So I think this is one of those stories that Gainer's going to continue to be following. And as far as our athletes are concerned, with Guam's delegation leaving for Yap in just a few days, the Guam athletes are now not taking any chances on accommodations. They've made alternative plans, said the delegation's chef de mission, Joey Miranda. All right. Should that have been chief de mission? Or maybe actual chef de mission. I don't know. Just how much power do you give a chef? Anyway, so there is that story. You got anything else?
Just wanted to shout out, because it does fit the theme we're talking about. Guam's spearfishing team, Ray, will take part in the Micronesian Games in Yap, and they've won gold the last 2 times, 2010, 2014. So shout out to Todd General, Mike Cassidy, and Ray Flores, who are on the team, while Chase Weir, Jose Villagomez, and Vince Pangolinan serve as the Team Guam safety divers, Ray. So they are reigning champions twice, and they're going to go and head over towards to Yap for the 16th and 17th.
Well, good luck and Godspeed, and just remember what happens when the mask falls down in the airplane. It's 8:32 in the morning. That's my friend Blake Watson. He does the morning show on Star 101. Headlines with Kevin Kerrigan, brought to you by Furniture Kathy Style, coming up next.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Studio time, 8:33, and time for our last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post, and brought to you by Furniture Kathy Style. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a federal case against a former ramp agent at the Guam International Airport has been unsealed in Guam District Court, detailing a scheme to steal mail that was intended for the CNMI. 39-year-old Glenn Doria Perez pleaded guilty to mail theft. The case had been sealed since it was filed last November. In April of last year, Perez was interviewed by U.S. Postal Inspection Service agents about thefts at the Micronesian Air Cargo Facility. He'd been working as a ramp agent since February of 2016 and was responsible for loading cargo onto the flights which transported mail from Guam to the CNMI. According to the plea agreement, Perez admitted to stealing about $3,000 worth of items, including a laptop, 2 cell phones, and 4 watches, among other items. He said he gave most of the items to a friend to sell, and he made about $1,500. Perez faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. Sentencing is scheduled for October 4th. Guam National Wildlife Refuge at Ratitian is closed through today while a damage assessment continues at nearby Anderson Air Force Base. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says Tropical Storm Maria last Thursday downed numerous trees which need to be cleared. Meanwhile, Pacific Air Forces has confirmed an unspecified number of aircraft, including a KC-135 tanker used for mid-air refueling, were damaged by Tropical Storm Maria when it passed over Guam last Thursday morning. Another $2 million in tax refunds in the mail today. The checks were printed on Friday for about 1,026 taxpayers who filed error-free returns on February 8th and through part of February 9th. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 8:35. This newscast brought to you by Furniture Kathy Style. iConnect time in the studio. It's 8:35. iConnect wants you to connect longer for less with their push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm back in Guam ready to set off the fireworks with our 4th of July sale at Furniture Kathy Style. It's packed with fabulous furniture and prices that will blow your mind. Get 15 to 25% off store-wide or 12 months interest-free with approved credit. Our beautiful lamps are buy one, get one 50% off. Save big on hot deals like our 4-piece Ashley Slade bedroom set, starting at just $4.99. Stop by and see us at Furniture Kathy Style in Hagåtña.
Portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
From September 17 to September 19, 2018, the Archdiocese of Hagåtña will be conducting settlement conferences with victims of clergy abuse. If you have a claim and want to meaningfully participate in the September settlement conferences, call Hope and Healing Guam at 1-888-649-5288 before August 1st, 2018. All conversations with Hope and Healing Guam are confidential. If you have filed a lawsuit against the Archdiocese, you are already included in this settlement process.
I haven't even looked at the traffic map. Is there anything out there? It don't seem to be a whole lot of places where traffic is going to be snagging or slowing down. There might be one. Let me see here. At the intersection of GRMC, and it's not even southbound. It's going in the other direction. Northbound traffic there a little bit slow as people trying to make that turn into the GRMC area on Route 3, but it looks like it's clear moving through there. Up and down Route 16, if you're headed up Route 16 towards the underpass, overpass, might see a couple of places where it looks like it's slowing down. I can't tell if it's they're trying to get into the Dededo Sports Complex area, cost you less, or whether they're going straight through. But I'll see what I can find out. If you see anything, let me know about it. Traffic heading up Route 14. That's the Santos Hill towards Marine Corps Drive. You might also experiencing some delays through there. It's 8:37. That's what's happening in traffic right now on The Point.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Well, fairly interesting day so far. Managed to take apart bits and pieces of conversation that Senator B.J. Cruz, Speaker B.J. Cruz, is having with his colleagues over at the legislature. Agree or disagree with whether or not there's a fiscal crisis in the government of Guam at this time, just because everything looks like business as usual. The fact of the matter is, but it cannot be disputed by anyone who earnestly does the math. The real dilemma comes in determining our path forward and working to pass the FY19 budget in an honest, transparent, and responsible way. That's what BJ is going to try to do over at the legislature. He's outlined a number of different ways that we're going to be able to control costs and cut expenses in the government of Guam. And I don't know. I mean, there's only so much that one guy. There's only so much that even if it was unanimous over at the legislature, there's only so much that they can do. Because there's deep state here too, Brett. We'll talk about that in a second. Mike, if you could hit me with the Cheers theme. It's that time again in the program.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came.
buddy Carlo. He says, every time I hear that song, I want to drink a beer. Don't give in. Give in to the dark side. Give in. You'll enjoy it. What the heck? What the heck? You know, Jerry Robert, remind me to talk about this in a minute. Where was I? I wanted to say good morning to, let's see, the crowd. And try not to mention too many names the second time. This looks like second-string traffic moving through here on the Facebook Live anyway. Dwayne Santos is on. I see Tricia Cruz. Good morning, TC. Always good to know that you're there. Mark Cruz, as well as we're doing the whole cruise thing. There's Susan Babas, Yuka Oguma from Guahan Insurance. Nice to see you there as well. Where's all the pictures from the weekend, Yuka? You're one of my people that I follow on Facebook to see what kind of fun I miss. Greg Karabrock is out there. I see Ken Williams, Francis Salas, Terry DeBold, Ismael Veliz, who says undocumented Filipino workers. Scary. Major terrorist organizations operate out of the Philippines. It's a good thing they caught him. Gina Kono. I see Paris Mendiola Blas. Good morning. Pretty nice to see you there. Jerry Roberts, Brad Hewitt, Hank Rice, Charlie Laurent is there, Vivian Cunningham, Frankie Gutierrez, and Felix Regis, Carl Pangolin, that's Carl with a K. Bert Duarte, Denise Legaspi, and Denise earlier talking about BJ Cruz and syntax. This is BJ Cruz's baby is syntaxes. I see Andre Bainham has chimed in this morning, so is Eunice Mendiola, Bert Manansala, and hope you had a good time with the fundraising yard sale at the Japan school. I passed by but couldn't find parking, so I didn't stay. Denise also writing, dump those political appointees and assistants and deputy whatever and appointees. Get rid of all of them. Donna Blas, Cartwright, says, privatize the hospital. Lease the labor and delivery department to Tom. Have Jerome Landstrom manage surgery. So many amazing doctors, but the hospital is managed poorly. And I was going to find out whether they'd had a board meeting, and apparently they did. So we'll see what I can find out about that. I see Ted Lewis and Cheryl Eusebio says, half a day from Georgia. Okay, so that might make the second of the tomorrows in Georgia. Brad asking me, did you catch D.C., as in Dave and, Dennis and Cruz, talking about doing away with deputy director positions? Not needed. Get rid of them. Executive security as well. Although, Brad, you wrote execute security. I don't know that we want to execute the security. I think we just want to eliminate as much of the executive security as possible. Dennis and Dave are capable of driving on a relatively safe island. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no to that. Let me just play with this for a second, Brad, because I know you love getting into scraps online. You and Mike Leguatnia, again this morning you're fighting. I am the executive officer of the island of Guam, and I know what my time is worth, and I know what a driver's time would be worth.
Right.
And let's start it at minimum wage. Do you have a driver's license? And tell you what, I'll give you another quarter if you go and you get a chauffeur's license. You get the chauffeur's version of the license over at Rev and Tax, so that you can legally and legitimately drive me around. Right. And I don't need to concentrate on driving. If I'm the XO of the island of Guam, I don't need to concentrate on driving. I need that time to be briefed by other people that work with me and work for me. I need that time to be able to read the latest bit of nonsense that comes out of the legislature, so I can figure out what my veto message is going to look like. Those are those opportunities. If you want to call it executive security, but really it's just a driver, then yeah, that's something that we can change. We can say the governor needs a driver. And I think there are people that would agree with that idea, hopefully. And if you don't, tell me why. 888-8255. But I'm just saying, when I was a student in Hawaii, that's how I got my homework done. That's how I was able to read whatever it was I was assigned, because I rode the bus from wherever I was staying out in Mo'iliili to school. And so I always had a little bit of time to catch up on something else. I would love love the idea of having a driver now, even though I'm not, some kind of big-time executive dude, like to just be able to sit back in the car, got my headphones on, got my Boz Skaggs playing in the headsets that I got from Dr. Kolfint, right? And just read everything.
Yeah.
Just go over all of the paperwork, all of the judgment rulings, and all of the crap that comes out of the legislature, and just do that. That would be cool. Where was I? I was talking about something of earth-shattering. No, I was just reading names. Okay. Joey St. Nicholas is there. Brandy's on. Michelle Kitsatsu is there. I see Dr. Tom Shea. Was great chatting with you this morning, Dr. Tom, and he says so too. Bruce Dinsman is online. I see Darlene Bloss. You remember to hug the old man for me. And Patrick Bamba Neitz is on. Can I have my merit at least? No, sorry. Jim Healy's on. I see Jim is online this morning as well. Still no school, huh? Okay. No, you can't. That's the way it works. And what she's talking about, what Neitz is referring to is salary increments will be suspended and not funded in the next budget of that BJ is proposing. At the legislature. We need to find $145 million. And if this fiscal situation in the government of Guam is as bad as everybody says it is, then there ought not to be any new hires and there ought not to be any raises. I mean, it's just the way. If it was the private sector, hell, there'd be employees getting let go. There'd be people that would be, I'm sorry, we can't keep you here anymore. Or, you know what, we give you some choices here. If it's too much for me to let you go, can I knock your hours back 25%? Because we've really got to control the costs around here. And there's companies, I guarantee it, there's companies here that you don't know about it. And, you know, we got Lester, who had written down somewhere, I can't, maybe you saw it. And he's talking about how this is going to have an effect on more than 1,500 GovGuam jobs, or about 4,500 people affected, including their family members. And you know what? Yeah, trust me, there are already 1,500 people out in the private sector that have been affected one way or the other by rising costs in shipping, rising power costs, rising costs of employees, benefits, and all of the 101 things that they've got to do for people that work for them. And so I'm here to tell you, just because you got a job in the government of Guam doesn't mean that you're dodging the bullet. If everybody's going to have to take some, everybody's going to have to take some. The article that you might see goes on to say on Monday, the Speaker will introduce other revenue-generating measures so that each option can be publicly heard in its own right. When I asked Carlo Branch, who works with the Speaker over at the legislature, gee, what maybe could those things be? He came back to me, and what did he write? He wrote in the thing, he says, so we introduced and heard real property and then sin taxes. We will need GRT and hotel occupancy considered at the hearing as well. Well, the GRT, we've just gotten it so that we have gone back to 4% GRT. Over at the, I think the governor's either going to have to accept it or veto it, and then it goes in for the override. And until then, I presume that we're still earning money with that 5% GRT. But we're not going to be doing the sales tax, the other 2% visible sales tax. So that's a good thing. That I suppose will work out for us. But what are the other revenue generators that are out there? It would not surprise me, and it won't. There's an article floating around now about Will Castro. And Will is going to go in and try to get that additional percent back in on the business privilege tax. They had originally talked about leaving it in the bill or leaving it in the measure that they voted on last week, but Speaker said it was not germane and requires its own public hearing. So we get to go through that process again, going back to a 5% business privilege tax.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If it's not germane, is it at least Tito?
Oh, you're talking about the Jacksons. No, I think it's still Michael. But that's where it's going to be. That's the next thing. That's going to be one of the next revenue generators that they're talking about over at the legislature. It would not surprise me if there was a conversation about the wholesale taxes and throwing those back in there. I don't think that they've completely walked away from that at all. 10 away from the top of the hour. This is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point, 888-8255. And last week spent some time with Art Paris from the Guam Power Authority and talking about recovery. I presume now that it's Monday, Brad, that everybody has got power. Is that about right?
That's correct, Ray. As of Saturday morning, all those customers who were able to receive power and were ready to receive it were restored.
Thank goodness. Okay, and so the only other problems might be some down weatherheads and some things that are external to the power authority.
Well, right now, line crews this morning are going back out. They are what we call retentioning lines that may have sagged due to heavy vegetation on them. They will be doing that today, and also doing more tree trimming as well as some debris cleanup.
Okay. Well, I mean, and that's kind of standard for what we do at around this time, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So the only question that we've got, I think, remains, and I guess you guys are going to be doing an investigation, is why did the power go out so bad? It's been a while, as I've said, since we've had an island-wide power outage. And even though you can see bits and pieces of the story where, yeah, there's a storm and the winds got up pretty high and yada yada, still, though, why would that have taken everything down at the same time? So tell me where you guys are in the investigative process there.
Well, those managers that were involved with the restoration are now focused on reviewing what events led up to that blackout. So that's still ongoing, Ray. And if we have anything to report, we'll make sure we include the Point and the Daily Post on that.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. I'm sure that the press release will go out to every. Well, you just make sure we get it first.
Most likely we'll do a call-in since you guys asked.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's my question, so don't share it with everybody at the same time. Because that to me is kind of curious. I mean, and kudos to we've gotten nothing on my Facebooks, etc. And even Tom Shea this morning was talking about how great it was knowing that the #1 Guam Memorial Hospital is #1 on the priority list. But your guys going in and out, old crews, fresh crews, new crews, to make it so that you're basically churning restoration on a 24/7 basis.
That's correct, Ray, and also thanks to our customers for their patience, but most of all for them posting where they were at on our Facebook page, and that helped a lot with the trouble reports that went out to the line crew, because it enabled us to go out to a particular pocket and then sweep the area as best we could, and then if someone still had some problems, they would post back on Facebook, hey, you forgot us on this particular street, or we're still having these type of problems. And so we have people behind the scenes that were taking those trouble calls. Since our phones were inundated, write them down off our Facebook page and then report them into our trouble dispatch. So that helped a lot.
Well, I'm glad that you're able to use social media and the blessings of the internet for good and not evil.
There you go.
While I got you on the line, is there anything else that is going to be happening with GPA? We go from, and unfortunately we had this thing last week, and it was a storm, and we had to jump through the recovery hoops. But now here we are. We got a fresh week, a brand new week. So what's on the public relations side? What is it, public affairs that you guys are going to be talking about over at the Power Authority? I think you guys. I think the next big thing is the conversation about net metering, right?
That's correct. That'll take place on the 18th. It'll be here at 5:30 in the afternoon here at the Gloria B. Nelson Public Service Building in Fidian. So we're going to be presenting to all stakeholders that came in the recommendations to the CCU, what the next step for net metering customers will be, and as it relates to the Guam Power Authority.
This is going to be important for people that are already solar power system users on their rooftops and businesses, but might also be important for people to pay attention to if they are considering getting solar systems.
And that's correct. They are part of our grid. They do contribute to the grid when the sun is out, like this morning, and so so now there'll be some new now there'll be some new and some changes that these stakeholders need to be aware of, and how their relationship will be moving forward with GPA. Mostly
on how they're going to be compensated or not for the contributions to the grid.
Well, it's my understanding that there will be some compensation, but the level of which it needs to be discussed and reviewed.
Yeah, because there's a certain amount that is going from the users into the grid, and there are certain avoided costs that the power company has as a result of that. So it comes down to the formula of this is what you're giving us for which we will pay you for, but don't forget you're also taking when the sun goes down at night unless you've got some batteries. So there's and that factors into the conversation conversation as well. So it's always been kind of interesting to see where we are on that, and in relation to other places in the world where there are solar systems and utilities as well. And sometimes the relationship can be quite tense between the solarized customers and the utilities.
Yeah, and that's true, but here in Guam, I think we can all come to the table and reach some sort of compromise and an understanding that while we're here on the island, and the grid is shared by all, so all of those connected to the grid should also help support the grid.
Yeah, well, I got you. So that's one of the big deals. You got anything else? You're going to be? Are we? I'm trying to think of where West Texas is. It's $73.80. It's got to go to 77 before you guys need to trigger another LEAC conversation, right?
That's something, Ray, that we're closely monitoring, and that's why it's important to keep all the base loads up and running as much as we can.
Yeah. And then when
don't forget Labor Day. And don't forget, not Labor Day. Liberation Day is coming up, so we also have to prep for that.
Well, are we going to see some more trucks with GPWA signs on them this year?
Pretty much, yes.
When is that going to happen?
Some of that equipment actually was out in the field during the restoration.
I'm sure, yeah. It's always interesting to me. When I see that sticker, I go, okay, well, when are we going to finally consolidate the two utilities and make it a GPWA?
Well, really, Ray, it's now they're up here for DM. A lot of that's we're not consolidated in terms of the agencies, but we do a lot of work together, and because we all serve the same customer, be it water, power, wastewater. We all support each other with our needs. If they have problems with wells, we have guys at the power plant that can help fix pumps and generators and so forth. So that type of support is reciprocated under the CCU and both GPA and GWA management to make sure that we get that running. And we saw that during this past storm by making sure all the emergency water well generators were topped off and operational.
Yeah, so for all intents and purposes, the collaboration exists already.
It has to be because we all serve the same customer.
Simple like that. Buddy, it's always nice talking to you. Thanks very much. Let me know as soon as we got some results of the investigation on what caused the entire system to go down. I mean, it was a storm, but it wasn't as big and as bad and as crazy as it had been in the past. One last thing. I want to say that my buddy Pete has been going crazy with conversation to me privately and also the Facebook Live talking about the amounts of money that need to get spent on tree trimming and things like that. You guys got a good enough handle on tree trimming and making sure that in times where we've got a little bit more wind blowing than normal, that we're not going to be losing so many circuits to downed lines from tree branches that fall on them.
I think, Ray, after this particular storm, operations will get together and put forth a plan and maybe report back to our CCU what that's going to look like going forward, because I think we need to do a lot more and get out there. We've invested a lot of money into heavy equipment and tree trimming and assets, so that's going to be deployed, and you'll be seeing that more, and you'll probably be seeing more of my lane closure advisories about where we're at in terms of the tree trimming going around the island. Excuse me. So you most likely be seeing that more in the next couple of weeks or the months going forward.
All right, well, good, because we are in that season apparently, and the last thing that we need is actually the things that we've got to continue to do is make sure that we've got the spares, make sure that we've got inventory on parts, just in case we lose a pole, we lose the blocks and the tackle up on top, and make sure that we've got guys that are going out there on a moving, diligent basis to make sure that the trees are trimmed around those lines.
And that's correct, Ray. And again, well, I thank you to all of our customers for their patience and the family members of our employees who supported them while our people were out in the field.
I got you. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Arpri.
Take care.
Have a great morning. Closing in on 9 already. Get out of here. Frankie Gutierrez says, I really hope GPA doesn't penalize new and existing solar companies or solar customers or companies as I think about that, because I think that, here out in the Pacific, it just makes too much sense. Haven't heard of a lot of places that lost any of the panels in the fairly big winds that we had as a result of this storm moving through here. So maybe, we've gotten to a point where we can install and care for and maintain the solar panels that exist in this version of the industry's state-of-the-art. So maybe it might be a good idea. And as I said, find out where the utility is looking at this relationship that they have with their partners/customers that have solar systems on their rooftops, and hope that they're all nice with each other. The radio station is KUSG Hagåtña 93.3. This is The Point. Fox News is coming up next.
We won't know until he knows. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. President Trump's still not settled on his next nominee to the Supreme Court.
This person will do a great job, but I'm very close to making a decision. Have not made it official yet, obviously.
The president planning to reveal his pick tomorrow night.
We know the White House has prepared rollout packages for 4 candidates: Brett Kavanaugh, Raymond Kethledge, Amy Coney Barrett, and Thomas Hardiman. Most Republican senators say they would be happy with any of the 4, but a number have said they especially like Kethledge and Hardiman because they would likely have an easier confirmation, which is invaluable just a few months ahead of the midterm elections.
Fox's Garrett Tenney in Washington. Officials in Thailand saying it could take several days to rescue 8 boys and their soccer coach from a partially flooded cave. Rescuers successfully extracting 4 boys from the team earlier.
The local governor for the area where we are says that they are waging a war with water. He also gave us some other insight into the specific rescue of these 4 boys. He says after they were rescued, they were immediately taken to the hospital. Currently, it's unknown their specific condition or if they are facing any sort of injuries. We're also learning every single oxygen tank that was laid along the route of the cave was used up in this operation. That means it could take several more hours to get everything in place for new rescue.
Fox's Jeff Paul. British police opening a murder investigation after one of 2 people poisoned with a nerve agent last month died. Authorities confirming the same nerve agent was used to attack a former Russian spy and his daughter 4 months ago.
The staff here at Salisbury District Hospital worked tirelessly to save Dawn. Our staff are talented, dedicated and professional, and I know that they will be hurting too.
Hospital Medical Director Dr. Christine Blanchard, Dawn Rowley's boyfriend, remains in critical condition. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter, so all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm back in Guam ready to set off the fireworks with our 4th of July sale at Furniture Kathy Style. It's packed with fabulous furniture and prices that will blow your mind. Get 15 to 25% off store-wide or 12 months interest-free with approved credit. Our beautiful lamps are buy one, get one 50% off. Save big on hot deals like our 4-piece Ashley Slade bedroom set, starting at just $4.99. Stop by and see us at Furniture Kathy Style in Hagatnya.
This week's NATO summit in Brussels could be a little awkward based on President Trump's last meeting with some allies.
President Trump has criticized NATO's member countries that have failed to spend 2% of their gross domestic product on military forces. The relationship between the president and some member countries is already under stress following June's G7 summit in Canada, when the president criticized the leaders of Germany and Canada over trade deals. At that G7 summit, the president also claimed that NATO was much too costly for the U.S. and has since written to NATO leaders urging them to accelerate their defense spending. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
The president leaves for Europe Tuesday. The Trump administration struggling to meet a deadline for reuniting some migrant children with their parents.
Health and Human Services had to give the ACLU in San Diego a list of the statuses of 101 children under the age of 5 who were separated from their parents at the border. The Trump administration asked for an extension of a Tuesday deadline to reunify those younger kids, but the judge said work under that deadline. He plans to hold another hearing tomorrow.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Fire crews in Northern California struggling against an erratic wildfire.
The Klamathon fire burning at the California-Oregon border. 72 structures have been destroyed and 600 homes are in its path. 3 communities are in this area, along with 2 power plants are also threatened.
Fox's Alicia Acuna. The fire killing 1 woman in her home. 3 firefighters also injured. More than 2,000 firefighters are battling the blaze, fueled by strong winds. Sorry, ladies, believe it or not, he's off the market. Justin Bieber popping the question to model Hailey Baldwin over the weekend, according to multiple reports. The couple previously dated before splitting up in 2016. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News Radio.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet summer deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra this summer with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more details.
It's basically a hamburger with gravy instead of bread. Salisbury steak waiting for you Mondays at King's. They've got a different local lunch special every day. It's Monday, and that's the big deal for today. Don't want Salisbury steak? Maybe something different. Pick 2 or pick 3 combo. It's happening for lunch at King's every day.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com. It's important that you know that if you've got to get stuff from here to the west coast of the United States or even moving the other direction, the sweet news is you call the guys over at American President Lines, they can get you hooked up. APL is shipping the future.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
What? I don't tell you how to do your job. What's that? Welcome to the Ray Gibson Show. 93.3 is the point. 888-8255. That number again is 888-8255. As we mull over the day's stories and the very interesting things that maybe took place over the last few days, that's worth some degree of interest, can I tell you with great disappointment that I heard on Friday that I was so disappointed. I'd opened up another can. When I got word Friday that the number of senators weren't there to support the repeal of the increase in the liquid fuels tax. Did you catch that? So I don't know who you're voting for. I don't know who you've decided in this election, who you're going to be supporting at the legislature. And some of these people aren't going to be running for election in the legislature. Some of them are running for a different office. But I will tell you that I am more inclined to support the following in whatever their endeavors are, because they see things my way. I hate taxes, especially when it's tax money that doesn't generally always go where it's supposed to, i.e. liquid fuels tax. So Senator Uggan and Senator Regine Lee and Senator Tilena Nelson and Senator Dennis Rodriguez and Senator Joe S. and Mike St. Nicholas and Mary Torres all voted in the direction that I wanted to go. Repeal this. It's hurting the consumer. And you might not get it if you're in the echo chamber, if you're in the cone of ignorance that you can sometimes fall into as a member of the government. But every penny counts for a lot of families in this town. And there's a bunch of senators that didn't see it that way and are going to leave that liquid fuels tax in there. So I'll go over the names of the ones that voted to support, I think, taxpayers holding on to a few more of their dollars. Uggan, Lee, Nelson, Rodriguez, St. Augustine, St. Nicholas, and Torres. So keep a note on all of that. 909, hi, 888-8255. Glenn Leon Guerrero. Oh, I picked a hell of a time to return a call. Good morning, Glenn. How you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm sure you're delighted that you'll get to keep the extra pennies in the liquid fuels tax.
I am.
No, he says not even trying to hide it a little bit. I am. And you're going to vote for everybody that left it in there.
Absolutely. and then some.
So you're going to vote twice. And that is the interesting nature of politics and living on Guam, is that old friends, reasonable people can agree to disagree from time to time. And on this point, I'm gonna say I have to disagree. And it ain't you. It's not you. Can I just say that, Glenn? It's not you, because I know that you want to use the money for its intended purpose, and will do so every chance you get. But you've got numerous predecessors, and there have been numerous people in the legislature in the past who've used the liquid fuels tax as their own personal slushy, let me impress somebody fund.
Well, Ray, I can't speak to that, and you hit the nail, the hammer on the nail. When you give me money and you tell me that this is what the money's for, I use it and I do it. I do my best to make it happen. And so, and that's what we've been doing. We've been doing that since the beginning of the year. So
all the way back since January. How about that?
Well,
we're on a roll.
The taxes actually have gone into effect. So if you're affected by it, like you say you are, well, I'm not going to defend it anyways, but I'm just going to move on with it.
No, and it is what it is. I don't know if there's going to be any further conversation about it over at the legislature, other than everybody has to live with the decisions that we make. I'm satisfied that while you are in the office and you've got hands on the dollars, I'm delighted to report wherever I can that I am seeing numerous upgrades, if you will, to certain roadways. Route 15. I'm sorry, no, it's 410, Route 10, as a matter of fact. I spent a lot of time on 10 and see the improvements that you're making on those roads. Some side streets are getting some attention that they've needed for a number of years. And so I'm happy that you are watching the spend on that. I can't speak for anybody else, but while it's you, I don't necessarily have as huge a problem with it as possible. Just use the money effectively, and that's all I can ask. I did want to go on a question that I'd seen. Where is this? The Daily Post today. Megan Schwartz saying DPW streets meet safety standards but need improvements. Now, I'm too lazy to read the article, but what kind of improvements were you suggesting?
What Megan was asking, she was talking about the pedestrian crossings and the pedestrian fatalities, the accidents that we've been having, and what we have to. For the routed roads, that we have to meet the MUTCD, which is the Municipal Transportation, blah blah blah. It's a code that we have to follow.
Yeah.
And that's what we follow. These are standards that are done throughout the nation, and so we follow those. But what I told Megan was that what we also do is we analyze the crash reports. If it's fender benders, if it's head-ons, if it's T-bones, and pedestrian crossings. So we look at things like lighting. We look at things like, do they need a safe haven in the middle of the street because it's too large a street to cross, stuff like that, and crossings and all that. So we look at everything from a pedestrian standpoint, from a bicycle standpoint, from a motorist standpoint. And we put it all together, and we're doing continuous improvement, which is like what you said on Route 10. We actually are going to start the design process. And we'll design so that we're hopefully smoothing. I've mentioned this to you before, where we slow down the speeds on Route 10 because the lanes are so wide, people are flying through them, and if it means to limit the lanes to from 2 to 1, we'll do that. And when we do that, what that'll do is it'll provide bike lanes, it'll provide sidewalks, et cetera, et cetera. So
really,
we want to. I'm not saying that. Yeah, we've done this. We've seen this. It's been done in the states where, in the mainland, where they have actually gone and lowered the number of lanes, and it did not significantly impede the progress of traffic. But not saying we're going to do it, but what we need to do is we need to calm the road, the streets down so that people aren't flying. It's normal behavior if the lanes are like 16 to 18 feet wide. You got all this space, you're flying.
Yeah.
You can fly because you can see. Whereas if we have also found that when not necessarily reducing them, taking off a lane, but you reduce the lane from 16 to maybe 12 or 14 feet, and then you put trees or stuff like that, because now you can't see too far in advance. You slow down. There's a natural tendency for you to slow down because you don't know what's on the.
Oh, that's kind of counterintuitive, but I see where that would make a difference. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
The psychology of driving. So if we narrow the lanes and actually reduce visibility to a degree,
correct.
Then the impulse of the prudent driver is to slow down.
Yes. Yes.
Could you use more help from the police department? I'm of the opinion sometimes that we're markedly different in the last 2 or 3 months. But prior to that, I was of the opinion that I'm not seeing enough traffic stops on the roadways. I'm seeing a lot of cops driving around, but I don't necessarily see them actually pulling people over. Now, as I'm going to say that was my experience prior to the last couple of months. I'm seeing more and more of that. But it seems to me with more enforcement, we'll also see a natural decline in the speeds that people are driving at.
Of course. And what we do to contribute to that is we get a federal grant every year, and we allocate it to overtime for the police, Guam Police Department, the airport police, and the port police. And what we do is we do these checks, not just sobriety checks, but we also do your texting, seatbelt checks, and speed checks. So we pay for that. We pay overtime for GPD, mostly the GPD, but we also pay for the 2 other police forces that we have on at the port.
How interesting. Okay, all right. Well, more of that, I think, would end up being a good thing. I think there's just too many people who've no longer have the respect for authority and the police and the rules of the road because nobody, frankly, is enforcing them, or the enforcement is sporadic. So I think a little bit more of that might also help tend to slow people down. And I don't want to put all of the onus and the responsibility on car drivers and the road situation. You know this as well as anybody else does. There's all kinds of people who have no problem walking along the side of a busy street in the middle of the night wearing completely black clothes. Cannot be seen.
Exactly, and it's not just, you're right, Ray. It's not just the color of your clothes. There are people, and you see that in Tumon, where people are texting. They're looking at their handphone and their smartphone, and they're not paying attention to where they're going. Mm-hmm. We have situations that even in Agana. So yeah, you're right. We're looking at doing whatever engineering fix we can implement. But you're right. It's driver behavior and pedestrian behavior. What I told Megan was that this is a community responsibility. It's not just a DPW responsibility or GPD responsibility. It's a community responsibility. The driver's got to. Can't be, when the phone goes on or a text message comes, you can't be reading that. You got to just focus on the road. There's nothing more important than driving your car.
Yeah, well, read them at the intersection like I do.
And then, yeah. So, anyways,
if you hear the horn honk loudly in an intersection, it's the guy behind me who's waiting for me to get off Facebook and step on the gas because the light just went green 20 seconds ago, and I'm still reviewing my Twitter.
Roger that, but that's still illegal, though, Ray. Just letting you know. Just saying. We can agree to disagree
on that particular point. Well, it's you get some of these intersections, and the lights they're long reds, or they're relatively long reds. So people kind of get themselves into the habit of, well, I got nothing to do here for a second other than sing along to the song on the radio. Hey, let me see if I've got blue check marks on the message that I sent my sweetie pie. Has she seen it? Has she responded? You know what I mean?
I hear you, Ray.
All right. Well, listen, I'm not gonna rag on you too hard. Listen, it's always fun talking with you, Glenn. So, you got anything big happening today? You're going to be doing any groundbreakings on any major roadways?
We are going to do that groundbreaking. We're going to do some ribbon cutting. We finished 19 villages, Ray, as of last week. 2 weeks ago, we finished 19 villages. We got a road for every village. And now we're starting on round 2 because we still have some money left over from this this batch of funds. We got $1.8 million in our budget, and so we spent that, and we got $2 million from the governor from DOI funds. So we're in the process of spending that. So we've done a couple of roads in Ganya Heights and down south. So we're looking to finish at least 4 more roads within the next 2 weeks, and then we continue to spend the $2 million that we've got.
How are we doing on bus operations? I mean, we're getting ready we passed the 4th of July, almost Liberation. The day after Liberation, or that 23rd Monday, is going to be a good time to start talking about back to school and bus ops. You got enough buses? You got enough drivers?
Yeah, we're still in the process of interviewing for more drivers. I think we were looking at 26 more drivers. I think we've gotten 12 or 14. So we're still in that process of hiring, going through the interview process to hire our FTEs.
Okay.
For bus drivers, yeah.
But for the buses, you have sufficient number of buses that you can start the year without having to do too much cannibalization of routes?
Yeah, we've got 179 buses or 181 buses, something like that. But we're still, our process is that because some of our buses are 20, 26 years old, we're still going through the process of purchasing new buses, and we have about $500,000. So we're looking at spending that to buy. When we had the IDIQ, we were able to buy buses at $100,000 a pop, because we bought roughly about 40 buses. We don't have the economies of scale, so we're seeing that price may increase to $120,000, $130,000. But anyways, we're going to allocate $500,000 so we can purchase new buses and try to do that on an annual basis, so we can retire the older buses that have served a useful life.
Well, I mean, and when it comes to the older buses, how are you doing with spare parts, tires, oil, batteries?
That's the other problem, is that we're getting parts is difficult too. So, yeah.
Yeah, because you're keeping those buses alive for a long, long time, but it comes down to, after a while, we're not going to support you with spares anymore, so you got to go back to the boneyard and see what you can pull out from the other buses that didn't live as long as the ones that you've got now.
Roger that.
Yeah, tough job. All right, Glenn, I'm going to let you run. I'll talk to you pretty soon. You have a great day.
You too.
Okay, buddy. 888-8255. That's 888-TALK. And that's the long and short of it. I like the idea that there were a bunch of senators over at the legislature that were attempted and voted to kill the liquid fuels tax. And he likes the idea that he's got the money, because actually he's been using it since all the way back to January. Can you imagine that? We'd had the conversation before, and in past, current use of those funds had been to stand up operations. Sure, we could look at them and say that there were operations that would eventually benefit the roads and the people that use the roads, but it wasn't doing repairs, it wasn't patching holes, and the most important thing is it wasn't being used to make new roads. And it's one of the things that I kind of harp on, and it's from a speech that I remembered that Joey Duenas is a current chief of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Many years ago, he was at the Rotary Club making a speech. We were both members at the time, and he was talking about how it was that we haven't made any new roads here. Now, this is in the 1980s. This is the late 80s when he made that remark. And if you think about it, since the late 80s, what new roads have we built? What have we gone out there and actually built? 10A, I think, was the last of the new roads that we put into place. There might be one, I suppose an argument could be made that we've got a little bit of a new access road coming out of Tiedzen and going over to where Cars Plus is. Now, you can make the argument but I don't know. It's more of a replacement because it needed to replace a road that we were already using that made the connection between Route 8 and Route 10. I'm sorry, Route 8 and 10A. And then there's Hamburger Highway. But you know what? That road had kind of always been there. Nobody used it because it was in such a deteriorated shape. It was basically a bull cart trail that lots and lots of people started using, and we built up some apartments and some stores and a couple.
It's a great place to test a boat.
Massage parlors in the area. But for all intents and purposes, it was not technically a new road. I'm not even sure that I'd say it's a new road now, because it's just a piece of pavement.
Yeah.
When we start talking about new roads, I need signalization, and that one doesn't have a signal light at one end of it. It has no sidewalks. It's got no pedestrian walkway. It just here's the beginning of the road and the end of the road. I think we've got a couple of stripes that go down the middle of it.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, it's just a little bit more glorified than what it was before. And frankly, it had already been there. We'd always had kind of a hamburger highway through there. So think about it. And if somebody were to ask me, Ray, where would you like to see a road? Where would you like to see some kind of a connector? And it's doable. It's possible. We've talked about it. They actually had a plan for it back in the Gutierrez administration, where we would figure out a way to go up. I believe it would have been at the ITC intersection. And so you go from the ITC intersection, you got GPO over here, and you've got the mayor's office over there, fire department, yeah. And then so you would go straight across like you're going to the ITC building, like you're going to the post office. And there's a cliff there.
Yeah.
But you know what we know how to do in 2018? We know how to make a road that goes up a cliff.
Absolutely.
So you make a road that goes up the cliff. Can you imagine how much time that would save? If people could get from Route 8 to Marine Corps Drive without going all the way to Route 16 or all the way to down Route 8 to Marine Corps Drive over by the venue.
Yeah.
I like the venue. I like going there. Don't get me wrong. It's Phil and I old buddies, right? I remember I got turned around by a cop. There was an accident over by where the Pokey Fry is. A pretty bad accident a few years ago. And I was coming up the hill, and the policeman turned me around, and I said, I'd like to go this way to go home. He said, you can't go that way to go home. I said, well, what do you suggest? And he says, go back up Marine Corps Drive and go to Route 16. Wow. And I thought, wow, that's kind of a long way to go. It would have been nice if there was a place kind of in the middle that I could have punched in and gone up and down. That would have been cool. That would have been a groovy thing.
That's like a 6-mile detour?
I don't know.
And that's just to get to the road.
Yeah, it was a long way, and it was. I want to say it wasn't by Pokey Fry. It was maybe over by the old Rainbow. So it's not like I was able to go from there up around Agagna Shopping Center and up 7. So I remember it was one of those things where it really was. I was really, really isolated from that section of roadway. But there's places we can do that. Pickendale Road. Pickendale Road would make a great connector. So you know where Kings is?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You go Kings, and across the street is the Shell gas station, and then there's a road.
Yeah.
That's Pickendale.
Okay.
And
but
Pickendale,
you could connect that with EPAL Road or something.
That's my point.
See?
Pickendale connects with at ERC at the end. Or is it the
actually,
carrier?
when I had my bike, I was really wishing that connected.
Right? How about here? You want another one? I'll give you another one. This one's an easy one. The residents would hate me for mentioning it, but there is an area over by Harvest Christian Academy. You got the school over here, you got the gym over here, and there's a road that you should be able to go and punch through there and find yourself in Cañada. Now, there's the magic of the Cañada-Ledzing area. And as a former resident, I didn't like it when people would talk about it because I don't want any more cars on the streets than absolutely necessary. But I don't live there anymore. So, it was one of those roadways. And if you look at a GPS map, if you look at like a TomTom or a Garmin GPS, it doesn't make the distinction. The road ends here, and then it's kind of across a guy's yard. And then you could connect with the other road. And if it was me and I was Glenn Leon Guerrero and I had a bucket of money that I could give to this guy, I'd say, I'm going to make just a piece of slab of concrete or maybe some asphalt in between here and there, and I'm going to pay you a lot of money to look the other way when I bring in the equipment. And then we're going to have a new section of roadway. Like I said, technically it exists. There's a way to get through there. But that would be a great place to cut off. Elwin Kitano says a great road would be Lower Barragata Heights to the back road to Anderson Air Force Base. How about Lower Barragata Heights, not to the back road to Anderson Air Force Base, but how about, remember opening up Radio Barragata? Longtime residents will remember when there was a way that you could get from Barragata Heights and go through Radio Barragata by the old golf course, and all of a sudden, bang, you were at Route 8. It wasn't the most convenient thing in the world because they didn't have that intersection behind Happy Mart. But if you had it now, wouldn't that be a great way to do it? And so I keep waiting for somebody over in the administration to make nice with the Admiral and see if we can get that done, because they closed that gate off years ago. And never bothered reopening it.
And never thought for a second about how inconvenient it would be.
Well, the theory at the time was that the military didn't want to be liable for anybody that because they did not maintain the road.
I see.
So when I go run back out there, it's almost as a convenience for, I think, some guard guys. Might be a couple of residents back there. There's a couple of businesses that have come up, but for the most part, it's a road that goes back to the 50s and 1960s. So it's not maintained. There's no sidewalks there. There's no stripes. There's no lighting. There's nothing there except this roadway. For all intents and purposes, it's been abandoned, and I don't think they want to be held liable for it. But I'm going, dude, it's the federal government. Let's throw some money behind this and see what we can get. Brad Hewitt says the road coming down from the airport behind Home Depot needs to be open. It's not. Don't they have in front of Home Depot? You can get.
Oh, but I know what he's talking about. When you come out of the departure, the pickup area, the airport, and you come out, there's a light.
Yeah.
But you have to either go left or right. You can't go straight and go down like I guess they planned on it being able to do.
The one by the airport?
Right. So you've got to turn left, or you've got to go right to go down to 16, or you've got to go left to go back down to 10A and then down to Marine
Yeah,
Corps.
I'm getting a headache trying to think of it, but I think I know what you're talking about. Thanks for the birthday wishes, Paris Blas. No problem. It's nice to see you there. I remember that road where Commercial Tire is now. Yes, you do remember it. Even when, and I thought that they were going to open it then. There was a time, there was a section of Route 8. Near Commercial Tire at the bend of the road, and what do you call it? There was a sinkhole there a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Big sinkhole, and this thing, it was lane and a half wide, and I don't know, call it 100 feet long.
Wow!
But it was Navy that had to fix it.
Oh,
and so I thought while Navy was fixing that road, that maybe they would open up the detour. They'd open up the fence, the gate that they had on the Radio Barragata Road, but they never did.
Wow!
Never did. In fact, they made it worse. They used that to stage some of the building material. So there's still piles of dirt right around the place. How about a road from Tiedzin down to ITC? Lanyard, what did I start? I started the conversation with talking about a road from Tiedzin down to the ITC building intersection. That's where I started. And let's put a couple of them there. Let's put a couple of them there. Let's do one just before the road turns. And in fact, where's that incredible view property up there, right? A road down to there, and it would come out right in front of a Lupang Beach Towers.
Yeah.
And then another one over at ITC building, and then find a way to convince the people that own the end of the road at Harmon Industrial Park to open it up so that you can go from out of there up the hill to Route 16.
Okay.
That's what I would like that very much.
That would be nice.
Okay, so when I'm the Ayatollah, when I have amassed sufficient power and significant influence here at the radio station, then that's what I intend to do here. It's at 9:30. I'll need an army first, I think.
At least, yeah. That hill's a little steep, man.
No, they are. It was there. They had it.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. Coming out of Harmon Industrial Park, you could go, because it's an old runway,
right.
And you could go up the hill towards Route 16. There was an opening and everything, right where Fort San Juan Muña.
I need to go explore over there more.
It was great. The only time that it sucked was Saturday and Sunday mornings, because he used to have this flea market there. So if you were like super hungover and really needed to get home in a hurry, don't bother going that way, because the guy's going to charge you $5. And it had the worst potholes in the history of Guam, potholes in there. They were the absolute worst. I mean, just think of the old Hamburger Road before the work and multiply that times 10. That's what it was like. I used to have a 4x4. I used to have a Toyota 4x4, and I was still hesitant to go through that. It was ugly. It's 9:35 in the morning, and we'll call that iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk or mobile plans.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Did you ever talk with a coworker and come away with a distinct impression that they think the world revolves around them? How dare they? Especially since you know very well that it revolves around you. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we'll set the record straight on that.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Do you love coffee? Do you love to draw? Be one of 11 lucky winners to win a year's supply of Circle K Premium Coffee. Simply stop by Circle K and pick up a blank Circle K coffee cup so you can showcase your doodling skills. Entries will be judged on artistic skills, creativity, and originality. And winners will get free coffee every day for a year. Visit stores or 76CircleKGuam.com for all rules and regulations. Circle K, take it easy.
When are they going to do the Doodle Cup thing for beer? They should do that for beer. Here's a thing. Give me a glass and a permanent marker, and then I'll put some doodling on it, and if I win, then I get free beer a day for a year.
Nice.
I'll take it all at once.
Best I can do is, what is it, the little guy peeking over the fence?
Oh, Kilroy.
With the nose, yeah.
Kilroy was here. Yeah, I remember that. Because I was in the Second World War.
Nice.
Well, that's where my dad says it was. That's where Pop said it was. 9:36 in the morning. And there we go. I was one of the other people I wanted to talk to. Oh, wait, because there's still people chiming in on the Facebook. All right, so how about a road from Teason down to ITC? Neat's also asking, military should build a freeway from Anderson to Naval Station. Whatever happened to that idea? Let me think about this. Let's ponder this for just a second. You remember the initial version of the military build? There's a guy, I loved him, General David Bice, who was he was the right guy for the time. He was the guy that came in, and they said, "Hey, listen, we're going to need to set this up, and then so we're going to need to have enough buildings and roads and munitions and dumps and yada yada yada. We're going to have all of this built in I don't know, maybe could you do this in a couple of weeks?" And so, I mean, the guy, he was a planner, right? I mean, the guy was a general, too. And so he had access to all the tools, everything that he needed. So he was able to actually, put together some kind of a plan. And they didn't necessarily think that there was going to be a way that they could get in and fix up as much of Marine Corps Drive. And so he said, well, let's talk about building our own roadway. And the name that I gave it, and it's so long ago, I can't remember whether I'm the guy that gave it the name, but it's the name that I recall using the entire time was the $1 Billion Boulevard, because that's what we figured it was going to cost. And it would have been a linking road that would go from Anderson Air Force Base, from the front gate of Anderson Air Force Base, much as we could, right down the center of the island, just as straight as a string, and try to get it down to Sumai. That was the idea behind it.
That would be cool. It'd be like a cross-island expressway.
Oh, my God, yes. Can you imagine?
Oh.
With roads that go this way and that way and everything linking
They
up
could
one
have
way or the
even
other.
charged a toll on something like that.
That's what I was saying. That's what but I said I didn't want to charge the military a toll because they were going to build it.
Yeah.
Because there was at least one senator, you remember, that wanted to charge a toll for people coming off the base. You remember that idea? I know. Hard times. Hard times. We'll try not to forget too many of those. But that was among one of the brilliant ideas that they had. And what I think it came down to was I don't think they, even if they'd had the $1 billion budget to support it, and Daryl Taggarty's on the line, he'll remember some of the details better than me. I don't think even the mighty Department of the Navy and the Marines would have been able to afford to construct that $1 billion boulevard. What do you think, Daryl?
Well, I think it should have been part of the military buildup cost. That was what was in the resolution, Jesse Lujan's resolution. that I helped draft back in the day, actually when the first time the military buildup was announced to the public.
Yeah.
Through the introduction of that resolution. There's actually a federal right-of-way that runs all the way from Naval Mag to Marbo, and what the route was supposed to go through Radio Barragata. It was supposed to go through Ordut and through Menangan. Not Menangan. The golf course and resort there, Leo Palace.
Leo, okay, yeah.
It's an old military route. They tried to open that in 1945, and then it would have linked Naval Station, Naval Mag, Radio Barragata, and then it would have gone. It wouldn't have gone up to Anderson. It would have gone over to Nickham's. It would have been an expressway, and that was part of the money that we had identified that the military should kick in for infrastructure development on Guam.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the road, and whether it was going to be a toll road, it would be a federal road. It would be an H1.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah. But actually, the right of way is there. Also, I wanted to mention, and in all of this road construction talk, the big problem really is in land acquisition. Gov Guam doesn't like to, because of the history of the military taking lands, they don't want to appropriate money to condemn land for roads. And so some years back, the federal government said, well, you can use the federal highway money to acquire land for acquire rights of way, so you can straighten out intersections and connect a numbered route. And it only hinged on our procurement process for land had to follow the guidelines allowed by Federal Highway Administration.
Okay.
Then we would have access to the money. But when the regulations drafted by DPW went to the legislature, some brilliant person down there thought that those regulations should be monkeyed with at the legislature, and so they changed a few words here and a few words there, and brought them out of compliance. And so we haven't been able to access the federal highway money to fix our federally supported roads by buying adjacent land.
And did we not do that in Tiedzin? Didn't we not spend some money on the Tiedzin properties so that we could build that the new version of the road up there?
And that was separate. That's Department of Transportation money. That was part of the airport plan. DOT funds the airport, so that was a separate matter. But take the bottom of I think it's called Murray Road, Snake Road, coming down from Naval Hospital.
Oh yeah.
There's that intersection at the bottom. That intersection needs to be wider to make it regular. In fact, it's private. It's sitting partially on private land, but that was supposed to be made straight. That intersection was supposed to be made large, beautiful, standard. Another one is Nepal Road. The purchase of land along Nepal Road to make the road uniformly wide was supposed to be used with federal highway money.
I keep waiting for that to go. I keep waiting for that to go one way. I don't think it's safe enough anymore for two lanes of traffic.
Well, it should have gone straight, just like you're saying by ITC building. That's supposed to go straight down the hill to the intersection at GVB. It's not supposed to go down the Snake portion. That's only one lane wide. The second lane, the uphill lane, is wholly on private property. I live on Nepal Road, and that's
I remember back in the day, but I'm not old enough to remember when that was only supposed to be when it was supposed to go other than the Snake Road.
It was just a Jeep. It was just a Jeep trail.
There, I was there. You know, and that's why, because it goes back even further than me and my family used to go down to Tumon, or my memories of my family going down to Tumon, because people got to remember up until about the middle of the 1960s, there was nothing there. There were no hotels. There was no. You had to find your favorite beach with it at the front end of a 4x4.
Yeah, our bus in '67 rolled down a newly paved road. It was sand road before '64. It was just a sand road. Salvatore's Road.
Yeah, see, you're a couple of years older than me. You remember that. I just remember going down in vans and 4x4s back in the day, and I don't recall. It's been so long now. I don't remember how we got down to Tumon in the first place. It's I did just coming down from the backside of Jonestown and Old Perrysville, and then down into the valley. But yeah, eventually you'd hit. There was no asphalt. There was no concrete. It was just sand.
Yeah, it was coral, and then it turned into sand. And it was a pretty hairy ride. It was a Jeep trail.
Yeah, I got you now.
For a deuce and a half. It was because they used to bring in fuel across the reef near the Hilton, and then there was a fuel depot across the street from where GVB is now. That's flat land there.
Somebody said, ask Peter John if we can talk to him tomorrow, if you don't mind. I'm sorry, just talking with the producer. Peter John's on the line. I want to ask him about the board meeting. I've got some information from Nestor Lecanto from KUAM, so I'll look at that because that's an interesting story as well. But frankly, this trip down memory lane, specifically the lane that gets you the Snaky Road, EPOW Road that goes down the Snaky Road to the Hilton, and so Daryl Taggarty reminding me that there was a time before all of the hotels and the businesses were down there, that road could have gone straight as a string right down the hill into Tumon instead of making the side Snaky Road along what turns out to be private property.
Yep, that's right. And you know, and not that long ago, we had the access to the federal highway money to acquire the land that we needed to make these roads happen. And since the legislature bungled it the last time, they haven't gone back and fixed it. They left those regulations in place, and that money, the federal money, is still not available.
Yeah.
And this is besides the liquid fuels tax. That money should have been available for compensating landowners whose lands are under the roads. And we would have been given the money to our own people. You know, and these are lands that they pass a law saying, well, we won't tax you on the part that we're using. But there's a lot of people who really don't go for that stuff.
Yeah, give me cash.
Yeah, well,
give me cash if it's possible.
If you're going to use it, buy it. It's going to be at whatever the market rate is.
So if you could punch a new road, where would it go? Because that's the genesis of the conversation, is getting off the phone with Glenn Leon Guerrero, and to the degree that he might be one of the more effective administrators of liquid fuels tax funds when it comes to doing things with roads, making road repairs, and putting new stripes down and filling potholes. Maybe he's doing better than anybody else has. But if we've got enough money laying around to punch in a new road somewhere, or connect from one route to another numbered route, where would you like it to be?
It would be the two that you've mentioned. That's ITC intersection up to the Parkway, and the other one would be the one through the old flea market at the base and Fort Juan Muña.
Yeah,
Harmon Park, because if you can get traffic rolling between Agana and Dedido onto several alternate routes.
Yes.
A choice of routes. Then we would have a better working road system on Guam.
Yeah, it's just there are so few ways. Yeah, there's so few ways to get from one side of the island down to the other side of it, and an argument could be made that we need to take a look at Route 8 and move in the other direction as well, and see if there's other ways that we can connect up from Route 8 to different sections of the eastern side of the island.
It's going to be cheaper than raising Marine Drive. As the water levels continue to rise.
What are you talking about?
Building roads.
What are you talking? The water hasn't risen on the western side of the island? What is this? You're talking to a denier here. You know this.
Build roads on higher ground, because that beachfront property is valuable and should be used for play and not for trucks. Let's get the truck traffic up on the high ground.
Let me ask you this here, since we're doing this warm bath of nostalgia, and it's possible that neither one of us are old enough to go back. I think about places in East Agania as an example. You know, the old South Seas area. You got Coffee Slut. There's Touray and places like that. And I wonder why they weren't built with the fun part facing the ocean.
Well, you know, I can speak to that.
You take the coffee place at the end, and you remember we used to have the Yakitori 1 and 2 in the area, and all of the businesses. You know, we had the cars that would park on the Marine Corps Drive side, and you'd get in. There's a storefront, and the back of the store was the beach. And nobody ever saw it. And it's one of the prettier beaches that we've got on Guam in East Agania. And I'm wondering why it is that we've never really developed or redeveloped any of that land or incentivized any of the owners of the property down there to make it so that they would be more like, there's a place in Hong Kong, and I can't remember the name of it, over in the slums of Repulse Bay. And they've got all of these shops now and restaurants. They're a very Tony place. I mean, it's just a wonderful place to go, and there's shopping, and there's, you know, places where they bring you in water in carafes and stuff like that. And all of the working parts face the ocean. Parking in the buildings are facing the road. Why didn't we do it that way when we had a chance?
It's easy to do because, in fact, there's still a roadway. The old pre-war road runs close to the beach. So if you take a look at AutoSpot,
yeah,
there's all of the employee parking and some of their car parking is in that roadway behind the cemetery. There is a road that runs all the way through. None of those buildings are supposed to be built all the way up to the high water mark because there's a road running back there.
So that's where the road was, and that's where the fun parts could have actually been facing the ocean.
And the government, the politicians, let me put it this way, the politicians went ahead and gifted those landowners the use of public lands over the years. And yes, it could have been done, and it probably could still be done, but now GovGuam would have to buy back what it gifted away.
We did that up in Tejan. Let's do it again. We did it in Tejan. Let's do it again someplace else. Let me, and one more thing that I want to, if you and I could sit on a committee, I would like it to be the committee that redoes the entire Anigua area. We'll go from where the old movie theater was, and we'll go all the way down to Adelup. What do you say?
I think that's a great project for private investment.
Well, I'm looking at a guy from DFS now, so maybe there's a possibility that something like that could happen. But where we look at gentrification of the area. The old Hamilton Arms Hotel used to be the hot mattress joint. There's some work that's being done there. I can see that being a high-flying kind of Airbnb place one of these days with a couple of restaurants downstairs. And you go a little bit further, and they put those new condos together down over by Marx's warehouse. That's a nice spot. And there's a bunch of other nice spots down there. And I just wonder how it is that and I was talking with Dennis Rodriguez about this the other day. I'd like to see some kind of qualifying certificate legislation that would allow for exactly that kind of thing to happen. So let's rebuild this portion. I mean, like I said, Anigua in some places, if Guam got an enema, that's where they'd put it, right? So it's a terrible thing to say. Sorry, that's Adelup. But very descriptive, but there's more that can be done with that area and turn it into a real tourist attraction, if you ask me.
Well, why does the government have to do everything?
Because I like the idea of qualifying certificates and because without, I think, sometimes some kind of incentive to the current landowners to do something or an incentive to businesses, private sector to come in and do something, I don't know that it's possible.
Well, there was a proposal for a deep port to be developed in that reef flat. Put a cruise ship.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I want to put a cruise ship right over by the Paseo, somewhere, I don't know, but not quite where the sewage treatment plant is. And if we do, don't tell them that's what it is. Don't say that's what's that smell? I don't know. It came in after the typhoon. We can't get rid of it. We used Febreze on it and everything. But just say that. But that's the walking jetty, because I think about Hotel Wharf and I think how far away it is and how unsuitable to the purpose. And if we had something closer to Ganya, closer to Tumon, it would be so much better. I mean, but it's just, it's what is it? Buttonhole fantasy stuff, right?
No, but it could be a spot for the ship to tie up on the reef off the for sale.
Hey, did you turn all your paperwork in? Are you an actual bona fide candidate now?
I knew that was going to come up. No, I did not turn in my paperwork. I am not a candidate on this election, and I'm just beside myself about it because I am not satisfied with who we have for choices this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to have to.
Not happy.
Well, if you don't put your name in the ring or whatever, and I know that you got to take care of your old man and stuff, so I'm sure that there were you've got ample reasons not to have, but it shouldn't prevent you from doing that First Amendment thing here every day. Okay.
I am depending on you. Thank you, Ray.
I'll talk to you pretty soon. It's 9:55 in the morning. That's my buddy Daryl Taggarty, just shooting the bull about what was before and what we might be able to do now in the future. Sometimes it comes down to money, and GovGuam doesn't have any money, but there's all kinds of private sector businesses that might be enticed to do something along those lines. You refurb the whole downtown Anigua side, and you start with the cemetery, believe it or not, because the Calvo family did all kinds of great work down there making that look pretty over at the Pigo Cemetery. So you got that right across the way. There's this beautiful park area. It's named after a chief, and I'm not going to remember which one it is. Is it Hurrell? No, maybe. Anyway, so there's this beautiful beach there, right?
Yeah.
And it's junk. It's total junk.
Right.
And so it wouldn't take anything to fix that up.
Well, see,
and
the other
put
thing,
a couple of restaurants there.
Exactly, and the thing to consider is when you do that, then that becomes a tourist attraction that you can bus the tourists by busloads to historic Hagatna, Guam.
That's right. This we'll just tell them Magellan landed there. It'll piss everybody in Yamatic and Maritza off, but we'll just have to deal with it. He landed everywhere.
We have his bones buried
somewhere. His golden sword was lost in this area. If you find it, you get to stay in the hotel for free. It's 9:56. I'll be right back.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card, and upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
As we journey through 2018, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you. It's 9:58. What do you mean I gotta go? I just got here. I've been in here for 4 hours, and it's only a 4-hour show. I got it. Oh, say anything. Here's the deal. Anything that I didn't get to today, I'll try to get to tomorrow. I did want to ask the question, did the Guam Memorial Hospital Board finally have a meeting? Because I don't know if you heard, but they're under serious threat from the CMS and Joint Commission to lose their accreditation and cost the taxpayers of Guam even more money. And up until last week, my understanding was that they had not yet had a meeting of the full board. Apparently they did, and I'll see if I can get an update on that tomorrow if we are able to get Peter John Camacho. I had him on the line, but frankly, I was having more fun talking with Daryl Taggarty than getting into the gossip at the hospital. And then there's this interesting story up in Jigo, which is normally a great place to live, but apparently at the Ponderosa and Tovis Street intersection, there is a house. Nobody lives in the house, and it's got an alarm. Apparently a loud alarm that can be heard by the neighbors 2 doors down that has been going on for 2 weeks.
Wow, is the house for sale? I'm looking for a place.
Yeah,
I can get the alarm turned off.
And they're trying to talk to everybody they can, the mayors and the fire department and the police department and whoever. How do we get rid of this nuisance? And nobody seems to be able to help them with an answer to the questions. 9:59 and change. We'll see if there's a follow-up on that overnight as well. Look, the radio station that you're listening to is KUSG Gutnia. We are 93.3. The Point wants to say thanks very much to everybody who endured the conversations and fighting with Brad on the Facebook Live. We'll get into some more of that tomorrow morning at about 6 a.m. I hope to see you here. For Michael Knight and Kevin Kerrigan and Blake Watson, this is Ray Gibson saying thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.
Coming down to the decision. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. President Trump narrowing his nominee for Supreme Court down to 4 finalists, saying the decision could be made tonight. The announcement coming tomorrow in prime time.